black, greeny, purple. I'd never seen a sky that colour. Yellowy, black, greeny, purple. It was uncanny.
Oh, it was a day and a night that we shall never, ever forget.
I couldn't believe that this was happening. First the sky, and then this horrible smell. Really sulphur smell.
Thunder and lightning, and it was horrible.
We're in very great danger from the pollution that's coming down over us. And we've been led astray by the military-industrial complex.
Dangerous chemicals over us from
Is the government experimenting with our weather?
That's the question at the heart of a phenomenon called chemtrails,
is
now
a term
getting
referring to the
widespread
visible
attention.
trail left by aircraft
Millions
in
of
the
tons
sky.
of toxic poisons released by our planes
during the Cold
as part
War,
of the government
the United
plot to
States
affect
military
climate
conducted
change.
secret
The government is up there in airplanes spraying all kinds of chemicals to change or manipulate the weather, leaving what you see there, and they call that a chemtrail.
Geoengineering. They say it puts poison in the soil.
Tests show high levels of these chemicals in our rain and soil.
using planes to spray chemicals into the atmosphere to manipulate or control.
And that's why health department records show a sharp increase in barium and aluminum in California's water supply.
We shall propose further cooperative efforts between all the nations in weather prediction and eventually in weather control.
The Army's need to know more and more about weather that surrounds this planet is a vital part of the expanded research program of atomic weapons. We all talk about the weather. The Army is doing something about the weather.
I would like to take you into the laboratory and show you a few of the experiments that led us to our outdoor experiments in converting clouds into snow. Using a home freezing unit such as this, we can form supercool clouds just like those in the natural atmosphere by taking a tiny piece of dry ice such as this and scratching it so a few tiny fragments fall into the supercool cloud. Long streaks develop. The particles grow very fast. They grow about 1 billion-fold in volume in a few seconds. Many millions of snow crystals form, and we get the same effect as is produced by dry ice. Dry ice is not particularly important as far as the fact that it's CO2. It is primarily important because it's colder than minus 35 degrees centigrade. This is a picture of the first cloud that we seeded back last November. Flying in a small Fairchild plane, and putting dry ice from a small dispenser in the bottom of the plane, and within minutes saw long streamers of snow falling from the base of the cloud and evaporating into the drier air below. Under many conditions, of course, full-fledged snowstorms will be produced in this way. Nature at last has permitted to do a little something about the weather.
Using Schaefer-Langmuir techniques, the Army Signal Corps and Office of Naval Research began conducting many of these experiments.
In 1947, Project Cirrus expanded to test cloud seeding on a hurricane traveling eastbound 350 miles off the coast of Jacksonville, Florida. They dropped 80 pounds of dry ice into the raging storm, only to realize that the hurricane suddenly changed direction and began traveling back towards the United States. Savannah, Georgia was hit by record-breaking winds of up to 85 miles per hour. More than 1,000 and the project and its participants were blamed for what happened.
On the night of the 15th of August 1952, the worst flood in British history swept through the tiny seaside village of Lynmouth. 90 million tons of water devastated the area, killing 35 people and leaving over 400 homeless. 40,000 tons of boulders were dragged off the moors, destroying houses and cars. Porters spoke to squadron leader Len Otley. He confirmed that he worked on Project or Operation Cumulus, which was also referred to as Operation Witch Doctor. What's more, in mid-August 1952, Alan Yates, a lecturer at Cranfield School of Aeronautics at the time, was asked to take part in cloud seeding experiments. According to Yates, the artificial rain fell over Lynmouth and washed the village into the sea. Newly declassified documents prove that Project Cumulus was indeed going on the day of the flood that year.
Project Skyfire, a U.S. forestry research operation concerned with the study of lightning and all of its manifestations.
Project Skyfire is aimed at lightning fires in western Florida. In detail, the manner in which your work involves you in the dispersion of clouds, which happen to have some effect on, or rather bring about thunderstorms or what have you. Could you tell our audience something about that type of work? Laurie, we're conducting experiments in cloud seeding aimed at determining whether or not weather modification techniques might possibly prevent lightning fires. We carry this work on by seeding clouds with silver iodide nuclei. We disperse silver iodide from specially developed generators located either on the ground or on aircraft. Our experience has been that we can do the best job through aircraft seeding.
Again, man looks to his own efforts to increase the flow of water. Since the 1946 experiments of Dr. Vincent Schaefer, we have known that some clouds can be modified through seeding to yield additional precipitation. In 1961, Congress directed the Bureau of Reclamation to begin a long-range study of cloud seeding with the aim of eventually augmenting the nation's supply of water. The program, called Project Skywater, continues at many sites throughout the United States. Eventually, if the research program proves successful, the methods learned will become part of our nation's integrated water resources program.
In 1962, during the Vietnam War, American forces responded with Operation Ranch Hand. Over the next 9 years, spraying an area about the size of Massachusetts with defoliants, the most notorious being Agent Orange. Large swaths of Vietnam were left barren.
Enough food to feed 600,000 people for a year has been destroyed.
Despite this sudden devastation, U.S. officials said the spraying created no lasting harm.
Milton Ross, a Special Forces advisor near Pleiku, has a son born without the tips of his fingers.
North Vietnam charged today that defoliants have produced many instances of miscarriages, congenital defects, and monstrosities among children.
The Vietnamese government insisted the cause was Agent Orange.
Although that war was long ago, there is lingering anger about the United States' use of a controversial defoliant spread by American aircraft on the jungles there.
An epidemic of birth defects, brain damage, and rare cancers still affecting hundreds of thousands of Vietnamese today.
According to environmental studies, high levels of dioxin could still be found in the soil in certain areas and had seeped into nearby lakes.
Agent Orange was a safe product when it was used in the Vietnam War, and it's a safe product today.
I got something to say. I want to know how come the fascist pigs have been seeding the clouds. Right. Last hour and the airplanes going over twice with all the smoke coming out of them seeding the clouds. And I want to know, why that stuff is going down, man. And why doesn't the media report that stuff to the people, man? I'm telling you what happened. The planes come over for an hour and a half and they seeded all the clouds. People of unknown origin were seeding the clouds over the
I don't know what they hope to prove, man.
Project Storm Fury assembles a team of highly trained scientists and technicians to fly into mature hurricanes.
Scientists working on the project were convinced that they could reduce hurricane devastation using a process called cloud seeding. by spraying the thunderclouds inside the hurricane with a chemical called silver iodide. This would become known as the storm fury hypothesis.
The seeding planes fly across the eye and into these clouds, seeding the supercooled water droplets from the belt of maximum winds outwards.
As the silver iodide turns the supercooled water into ice, the heat released during this process causes the seeded clouds to grow and develop into a new outer eye wall. At that time, the United States Army were in Vietnam. Pierre Saint-Amand was part of the team assembled in a top-secret cloud seeding operation known simply as Project Popeye. In May 1967, as monsoon clouds developed over the Ho Chi Minh Trail, Armand and his team put their new weapon to the test.
We jetted the material so that it fell into the growing part of the cloud, and it rained very heavily out of it, and everybody was convinced with that one experiment that we had done enough.
Project Popeye had opened the door to a new and dangerous type of warfare.
Some said, if you control the weather, you can control the world. Military planners imagined loading the clouds with radiological, biological, or chemical agents and having them rain on demand.
They could attack your enemy using the weather, but deny ever doing so. Allegations were made that cloud seeding had not only made jungle paths impassable, it had also killed thousands of innocent people. But this didn't stop governments from continuing to explore ways of modifying the weather, sometimes for highly questionable purposes.
And that message calls for new frontiers, new visions. It calls for us taking the steps now that will make us no longer second in space and in science. It lays the predicate and the foundation for the development of a weather satellite that will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer and ultimately to control the weather, and he who controls the weather will control the world. It lays the steps that's necessary to provide a nuclear rocket that will produce benefits that are so unlimited that I couldn't tell you about them if I had all that time.
July 1976. Strange, unexplained blackouts in worldwide communications plague the globe and are covertly transmitting extremely low-frequency waves, otherwise known as ELF waves.
It's called the Russian woodpecker because it was essentially that sort of clicking, pecking sound.
In 1982, a report by Pentagon researcher L. Ponte alleges the Russian woodpecker signal is actually creating layers of artificial ionization in the upper atmosphere, which means it could have been bending the jet stream and altering global wind patterns.
There's been a lot of research in military labs over what you can do with putting radio waves into the atmosphere. Some of the research indicates that one can move the jet stream around and thus induce weather conditions.
It's no coincidence that the United States began building its own mysterious array of antennas.
HAARP is the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, originally a joint effort of the Air Force and Navy in cooperation with a number of academic institutions.
Of 180 antennas, approximately 72 feet tall, linked together to function as one giant steerable antenna. Steerable because it can aim millions of watts of ELF waves into one tiny patch of the atmosphere. HAARP is one of several ELF wave transmitters located all over the globe. Working in tandem, these transmitters alter the weather anywhere in the world, potentially changing the jet stream's course entirely. The intense energy being beamed into the sky by HAARP sends pulses of ELF waves into the ionosphere. The waves get reflected back down and pass through the earth and ocean. But HAARP's startling potential doesn't end there. It's linked to a strange phenomena occurring in our skies.
On clear days, you can often see long white lines being traced high in the sky. They are contrails of jet aircraft, actually long, slender clouds. Weathermen are finding them especially fascinating because a theory is being developed that those long white lines may be changing our weather for the better. Details from Roger O'Neill.
The exhaust from jet engines, usually seen as long, thin trails of white clouds behind high-flying jet airplanes, may be a big reason why there are 30 fewer days of sunshine a year in the Midwest now than there were in 1900. The daily range between high and low temperatures has also narrowed.
In the absence of natural clouds, given the correct atmospheric conditions, jet aircraft in high frequency can almost completely cover the atmosphere with clouds.
No one is trying to make clouds now using jet engines, but this study suggests that jet travel is inadvertently making our days more cloudy. And someday, weather researchers may be able to use jets on purpose to change our weather. Roger O'Neill, NBC News, Champaign, Illinois.
And finally, a federal report today predicted possible catastrophic warming of the Earth by the 1990s with a strong climate change.
Hurricane Gloria is moving on the East Coast tonight like a monster out of a science fiction film.
3,000 homes went underwater, and of those, almost 900 were destroyed.
From 1987 through 1992, California experienced the most severe drought in the state's history. According to NOAA, an anomaly occurs in the jet stream. The winds appear to change direction, blowing east to west instead of west to east, indicating the jet stream coming into the west is suddenly much weaker than normal, causing a drought. By 1995, the jet stream returns to normal.
Here there were huge problems with flooding, intersections and parking lots underwater, homes threatened, people trapped in the river that you see out here behind me, forcing those dramatic rescues.
This U.S. Air Force report graphically outlines the military's desire to exploit and manipulate the weather for the purposes of war by the year 2025. According to one of the most harrowing lines in this report, quote, "Weather modification is a force multiplier with tremendous power that could be exploited across the full spectrum of war-fighting environments."
Man-made global warming is no longer just a theory about climate. It is the defining moral and political cause of our age. It is presented in the media as having the stamp of authority of an impressive international organization.
From the IPCC,
the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC.
I've often heard it said that there is a consensus of thousands of scientists on the global warming issue and that humans are causing a catastrophic change to the climate system. Well, I am one scientist, and there are many that simply think that is not true.
The final conclusions are politically driven.
This claim that the IPCC is the world's top 1,500 or 2,500 scientists, you look at the bibliographies of the people and it's simply not true. There are quite a number of non-scientists.
And to build the number up to 2,500, they have to start taking reviewers and government people and so on, anyone who ever came close to them. And none of them are asked to agree. Many of them disagree.
Those people who are specialists but don't agree with the polemic and resign, there have been a number that I know of. They are simply put on the author list and become part of this 2,500 of the world's top scientists.
People have decided you have to convince other people that since no scientist disagrees, you shouldn't disagree either.
Climate scientists need there to be a problem in order to get funding.
We have a vested interest in creating panic because then money will flow to climate science.
It's become a great industry in itself. And if the whole global warming farrago collapsed, there'd be an awful lot of people out of jobs and looking for work.
There's one thing you shouldn't say, and that is, this might not be a problem.
If you go to page 119 of the president's budget, he's anticipating generating $646 billion in new tax revenue from this bill. So clearly, the president expects this bill to generate $646 billion in new taxes that even his own budget director has said would be passed on to consumers. So you must have been listening to our testimony that we've had for the last few days with dozens of experts that have come in who have given completely different views.
Well,
I would encourage you to go back and look at the testimony this committee's heard. Dude, we're talking about that can export millions of jobs out of our economy, out of our country, and testimony's been given just to those numbers. And so we're talking about a serious consequence that there would be on this country. The carbon would be emitted, but it would be emitted in China and India, and the jobs would go to China and India. Do you want to
man-made
global warming pollution causes global warming.
It's my understanding that back in 1997, when you were vice president, Enron's CEO, Ken Lay, was involved in discussions with you at the White House about helping develop this type of policy, this trading scheme. And is that accurate? Is it inaccurate? It's been reported.
I don't know, but I met with Ken Lay, as lots of people did, before anybody knew that he was a
right.
crook.
And clearly, you can see why so many of us are concerned about turning over this country's
I
energy
didn't know him well
economy.
enough to call him Kenny Boy.
You knew him well enough to help devise this trading scheme. And obviously, we know what Enron and these big guys on Wall Street like Goldman Sachs, and I know you've got interest with Goldman Sachs.
No.
These people, well, that's been reported. Is that not accurate?
No, I wish I did.
I'm saying that there are going to be big winners and big losers in this bill. And I think that should be noted, that companies like Enron helped come up with this trading scheme that would
Enron.
I don't know if this is true or not, that some scientists are trying to figure out a way to block the sun to try to slow down global warming.
Yeah, it's a measure of the feeling of desperation that some of them feel.
Are they really thinking they could do that?
Well, some of them are seriously proposing, and I think it's completely nuts.
Yeah.
You put another kind of pollution, sulfur dioxide, up to orbit, cover the atmosphere. The sky won't be really blue in the way it is now anymore, but it would block out some of the sun's heat so that we wouldn't have to take the difficult steps to stop spewing all this global warming pollution into the atmosphere. And of course, there are a lot of problems with what they're proposing.
You could actually spray sulfuric acid in the stratosphere 20 kilometers over our head and use that to stop the planet warming up in a kind of ugly tech fix.
You can spray something into the atmosphere to change.
Spray pollution into the atmosphere to stop it warming.
How do you do this?
You'd start with a fleet of modified business jets and say 20,000 tons of sulfuric acid into the stratosphere every year. And each year you have to put a little more. And this doesn't, in the long run, mean that you can forget about cutting emissions. We will need to rein in
No,
emissions.
we'll get to it eventually. But in the meantime, we're shrouding the earth in sulfuric acid.
So people are terrified about talking about this because they're scared that it will prevent us cutting emissions.
Right, and also that it's sulfuric acid.
We put 50 million tons of sulfuric acid in the air now as pollution, and it kills 1 million people a year worldwide.
Okay, but it'll be better if we put more in.
We're talking about 1% of that.
1% more, we're just killing 10,000 more people.
You can do math.
What happens to the sulfuric acid after it's sprayed? Does it just stay up there?
No, it rains down, but it's a tiny addition to what we're already doing.
Is there any possible way this could come back to bite us in the end?
It actually turns out to be an old idea. This was known since President Johnson.
You ever look at those planes up there? They have contrails behind them. Maybe all those planes are the contrails. Maybe they're actually spraying chemicals into the atmosphere right now, and Uncle Sam isn't telling us.
It seems extremely unlikely.
That the United States is not telling something to its citizens? That seems extremely likely to me. Read the newspaper. I think they might have your idea already.
This geoengineering idea in its simplest form is basically the following. You could put fine particles, say sulfuric acid particles, sulfates, into the upper atmosphere, the stratosphere, where they'd reflect away sunlight and cool the planet. There's lots of mystery in the details, and there's some bad side effects, like it partially destroys the ozone layer, and I'll get to that in a minute, but it clearly cools down. And one other thing, it's fast. I guess the thing I haven't said about this is it is absurdly cheap. It's amazing how we can affect the planet. The one thing about this is it gives us extraordinary leverage. This improved science and engineering will, whether we like it or not, give us more and more leverage to affect the planet, to control the planet, to give us weather and climate control, not because we plan it, not because we want it, just because science delivers it to us bit by bit.
What is geoengineering?
It's really two very different things. One is ways that we would alter the amount of sunlight the Earth absorbs, and so cool the planet, partly offsetting the effects of carbon in the atmosphere, and that's called solar radiation management, or in some technocratic way, SRM. And the other one is to take carbon out of the atmosphere, so-called carbon dioxide removal.
Before we get on to solar radiation management, let me ask you about the carbon dioxide removal. A Royal Society report here in the United Kingdom back in 2009 said that no method of carbon dioxide removal has yet been demonstrated to be effective at an affordable cost with acceptable environmental impacts. And they only work to reduce temperatures over very long timescales.
I think that's exactly right, and I can say that both as an author of that report and as somebody running a startup company trying to capture CO2 from the air.
Before we get into the pros and cons of it, how solar radiation management might work.
Conceptually, it's simple. The doing it is not the hard part, but you could use aircraft or other methods to deliver literally tons or millions of tons of very small reflective aerosols, tiny particles, say, to the upper atmosphere.
Spraying them out at a high altitude.
Correct.
Isn't one of the problems with the climate and studying the climate is that it's incredibly difficult to know exactly how it works. It is very difficult to model.
Sure, it's impossible to know exactly, but you can still learn a lot. So we actually ran a survey almost a year ago now that took data, high quality data from 1,000 people in the UK, Canada, and the US to try and understand public support for research on these technologies and what kind of political leanings influence people's decision to be for or against. And in fact, we found pretty broad support for research.
But that particular opinion survey that you're talking about, it also came up with the finding that 64% of subjects agree that humans should not be manipulating nature in the way suggested by solar radiation management.
Exactly.
Well, that would suggest that there isn't particularly broad support at the moment for the theory behind this.
There's not broad support for doing it, and I think that's quite a healthy thing. I mean, I'm one of the people who, maybe starting 20 years ago, most helped to open the door to get public conversation going on this thing.
How do you think, in that case, the public can be convinced, given that there is, as we saw with this project in Britain, tremendous skepticism even about research at what you say is a very, very benign level?
Public opinion will evolve over a long time, and from my point of view, the goal is to try and make that public opinion be able to be shaped by facts as well as possible, and also shaped by people's values. It's not to promote this. So actually,
well, it is in part to promote this. I mean, you're a great enthusiast for this, and as you said, you have your own private company, which is...
my private company works on a very different part of it, which doesn't suffer from these governance challenges.
But it is all to do with the issue of geoengineering.
Actually,
I mean, you know, it's an incredibly sensitive topic.
I actually don't think my job is promoted. My job is to help clear thinking and clear knowledge about the tools we have to regulate climate risk, among them this one. And I'm perfectly prepared to find that results show that we should never do this. So if it works, and again, we don't know it does, it provides some protection in the near term.
Isn't there a problem, though, that you could end up with different effects in different parts of the world? I mean, you could, for example, find that although you're reducing the amount of sunlight and the amount, therefore, that the Earth is warming up, rainfall is affected in different ways in different parts of the world.
Absolutely. Essentially, the scientists and technocrats, including myself, I guess, are helping to invent a thermostat knob. But it's much easier to invent the knob than to figure out who should be in charge of it in a world with many states.
No, indeed, and I want to come on to the governance, but I want to ask specifically about the science of this, which is how far can you tell whether the effects of solar radiation management are then going to cause perhaps a catastrophic loss of rainfall in a certain part of the world? At the moment, it seems to be hazy, this.
I think it's not as hazy as that. So using exactly the same climate models as we've used to estimate the problems with CO2 in the atmosphere, the underlying climate problem, we've applied those same models and same techniques to look at this. And the results so far, I have to say, look pretty good. That's why we're paying any attention to it.
Richard Branson himself, who owns the Virgin Airline Group, was quoted back in 2009 in the New York Times saying, if we could come up with a geoengineering answer to this problem, we could carry on flying our planes and driving our cars.
Is going to cost a lot of money.
And yet I mean, let's be clear here, you and your company are after Branson's money.
The cheapest thing to do is to use the atmosphere as a waste dump. And if we want to stop doing that, we must have laws that restrict the ability to use the atmosphere as a waste dump.
My question is, are you not concerned that you and your company, Carbon Engineering, is looking for money from people like Richard Branson? It's funded, I think, in part by Murray Edwards, who is a key figure in tar sands, which is seen as one of the dirtiest fuels on the planet.
It is.
Are you not slightly concerned about the people who you're getting into bed with?
I'm happy to take money from serious folks who have a broad set of interests. No problem. First of all, I should say, for work on SRM, on these very high leverage technologies that have security concerns, I believe there should be no private action, there should be no for-profit action. I believe it would make sense for SRM to actually restrict or eliminate the possibility of patenting.
Isn't your company involved in several patents at the moment?
This is the difference. So for capturing CO2 from the air, that's an encapsulated small technology, which can be regulated by the normal laws. It's inherently expensive, so there's no risk of sucking all the CO2 out of the air because it costs so much. Any technology you have that removes CO2 will have local risks, maybe unacceptable risks, but those risks can be managed by the normal local risk management we have. So I think that I'm happy to see private action on cutting emissions by making solar power or electric vehicles or capture from air. I'm not happy to see public action on technologies with this huge leverage, like putting particles in the stratosphere.
I'll tell you a little bit about some new work we've been doing, thinking about how you actually might put aerosols in the stratosphere. The novel method we've been thinking about, or it's not novel at all, it's actually exactly what happens from aircraft contrails, is that we put a condensable, a few megatons a year of sulfur would be enough to produce sort of 4 watts per square meter radiative forcing directly out of the back of an aircraft. There's a huge literature in the nanofabrication world about making fine particles from low vapor pressure gas, and there's nothing very hard in terms of aircraft engineering. If you go to aircraft engineers, and we've done this, they say that would be easy, we could do this if you want us to. We've mostly thought about sulfur, and there's a lot of good reasons to think about sulfur, because sulfur's what nature does, at least in this version of the model. Is if you put sulfur in continuously, you actually get a remarkably ineffective result. Nevertheless, there might be some good reasons to think about alumina. The big deal really is that alumina has 4 times the volumetric rate as sulfur, but roughly 16 times less the coagulation rate. So you could get away, we think, with much smaller mass flow. The little picture is from a nanofabrication study, which shows you can make high quality alumina particles just by spraying alumina vapor out.
Spook.
Nick Pop. What are you saying? We are now live. This is episode 286 we're on at the moment. And I hope you can hear us all. Matt's waiting in the green room. I can see him there in the background. Can you see us, Matt? Yes. We're going to be talking total bollocks about the weather and geoengineering and Matt's fantastic second annual summer meetup in a couple of weeks' time. I think it's a couple of weeks' time, isn't it, Chris?
Next Saturday. 20th.
Next Saturday, yeah. I had to play half an hour of that film of Matt's. We'll talk about it in a sec.
Yeah.
But just before we bring him in, I want to say that this week, because we're doing this live show on a Thursday, there won't be a members hour this week. But what we have got is it'll be like a double week. I'll release another episode 287, which is me having a chat with Melissa and a chap called Nick Hayes from Hayes Book Reviews, which is on YouTube. You can go to his or Hayes Reviews. Obviously, the name says it all. He reviews books, people's books. So I was on there talking to them too about my book, Traitors, the Pandemic Politicians, for 2 hours. So we'll release that on Saturday on YouTube, and we'll release it on our platform, bullshit platform as well. Well, that's it.
Is this 286?
This is 286, yeah.
I'm very confused.
Yes, this is 286. If you want, we're going to be doing a live show on the 3rd of October in London. If you want tickets for that, please email in at info@sheepfarm.co.uk. That's info@sheepfarm.co.uk. Just say how many tickets you want, and you'll be put on a list, and then we'll get back to you when they're available. And that's it, really. What else to say, Chris?
No, I'm going to Matt's thing next Saturday. Might take my nipper.
Yeah. You're Seb joining you?
I don't know. I ain't spoken to him for a bit. I don't know. He's in Bristol, isn't he? Might be a bit far out.
Right.
To get
Let's
up.
bring Matt in anyway. We're being ignorant Yorkshire bastards. Hey up, Matt. How are you doing? That's what we say in Yorkshire. Hey up.
I'm not in Yorkshire. I don't say hey up. Hello, Matt. How are you doing? You're right.
Hey up.
Yeah. Hey up. Yeah.
How are we doing?
Yeah, Matt, I
How are you
watched
doing?
in preparation for this today, and because I haven't watched it for a while, I watched your Frankenstein's film again. I watched it when it came out, and I've watched it since, and I watched it again today. Stands the test of time quite well, I will say, my friend.
Love it. Yeah, thank you so much. There's one little bit in there that I'm like, wish I never had, but it's.
Go on.
What is it? I gotta stop thinking about it. Well, and thanks for having me on, you guys. I just want to say, you two have been so freaking supportive over the years that I'm just your blessing, and thank you for all the continued support and helping people be aware of the rallies and the movie and what I do and my work and all that sort of stuff. It's just you guys are great, and it's always fun, and I'm thankful,
thank you,
and
man. Our pleasure.
and I'm thankful and honored to call you friends. So
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah. You know, we knew you before you even knew us, if you like, by watching your podcasts that you were having when you were releasing the film, going back way back in 2016, 2017, listening to you on Crow and a few other places. I think Mike Williams, ISI Chats.
You're everywhere, weren't you?
Yeah, you were everywhere at that point.
Yeah, I made the rounds. A lot of them are like, let us know when your second movie comes out. We don't want to have you on again. And I'm like, okay, I'll get it done. But the thing about the next movie is I know there probably won't be a third, right? And there's so many gaps that I want to fill, And one thing that I think I'm going to do, because not very many people are stepping up wanting to be interviewed about chemtrails, right? Especially like pilots and whoever, the things that I want. I think I'm literally going to stage an interview, like build out like what looks like a film, like I'm in a radio show, and I'm just going to be like, oh, that's a great question, John, and the answer is, and I'm just going to answer these questions that are really pertinent, because there's so many questions that people have about like who's really doing the spraying and the aircraft engines and blah, 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 blah. The one regret that I have in Frankenskies, the first one, it's just this little snippet where there's this activist guy, Patrick Roddy, who like he was one of my best friends for a while, and then like he fell apart, and I don't even know like what really happened with him, if he was just like a controlled opposition agent the whole time or whatever. But he's on this radio show with me, and he's saying that all the airlines spray, and I'm just not
the guy with the beard, is it?
Yeah, with the beard.
Yeah.
And I'm just not confident about that anymore. That's not something I'm 100% confident about, that the airlines spray. I mean, when I first got into the chemtrail geoengineering space, I was like, how could they not be spraying? Like, look at all these fucking planes in the sky. And then they even have like markings on them. But now that I realize how deep these lies are, I mean, we've been lied to so much about everything, just like everything. And it's like, the way that the controlled op works is it gets us confused and has people wanting to go like protest at the main airports and shut down Heathrow and all this sort of stuff. And it just makes us look batshit like tinfoil, whatever. It makes us look bad. But at the end of the day, where I live, at least, I can speak to where I live. Where I live, the planes that go into the airport, they don't spray. And then the planes that do spray, which I think they're unmanned aircraft at this point, they're going to like secret bases, and they have the same trajectory every time. They're going to the same locations that are not on a map. And I've even met, so we have, so I'll share a little story with you guys. Is that cool?
Yeah.
So we have states over here, right? And every time you go into California, there's an agriculture inspection where they stop you going into California. And there's an inspector that comes out and says, do you have any fruit in your car? Literally. And then they want to know if you have like any fruit that's on their shit list, because they don't want to let in the certain pests that'll ruin the agriculture of California, because California makes all the avocados and the pistachios or whatever of like the world or whatever, or like the region, you know? So this one time, this is like a decade ago now, I was so gung-ho at first. When I first got into this like 12 years ago, I was like, I'm going to give a chemtrail flyer to every effing person that I see, you know, and then eventually like people would scoff at me and ruin my day. And I'd be like, okay, I'm going to like size them up and look into their soul and only give it to the people that I think are, you know, worth it. But at this point, I gave the ag inspector, this guy came out, this guy, Ryan, he came out and he's like, any fruits or vegetables? And I was like, no. I was like, but here's a flyer for chemtrails. He was just like, and he's like, we need to talk. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And he's like, give me your information. We need to talk. So I reached out to him. We had lunch a few times. And this guy was like pretty straight edge. I think he used to be like a cop or something like that. And he was like, I've got to get you filming my buddy. He's like, my best friend, this mate of mine, he works at this secret base. And he wants to blow the whistle, but he needs you to guarantee him and his family safety because he's afraid that if he blows the whistle, they'll kill him and his family, right? And I was like, okay, no. I'm like, I cannot do that. You know, I'm not that guy. Like literally, like the dude, I'll email the dude and they'll know that like what do you want from me? You know what I mean? Like I know like the tech is extreme, and I know when people are like working these certain jobs that they're probably already being monitored. So the day that he reached out to me, like I'm not going to have him and his family's lives in my hands, whatever.
No.
But he's like, okay, well, here's the situation. The guy works at this base in Redding, California, which is like where I live. There's this trajectory, like you can kind of see where the planes are going based on like their altitude change and all this. And I live in between like two bases. And they're not on the map. And people have come to my conferences before and be like, I know where this one is. The trains go there, the planes take off there, and blah, blah, blah. Because the trains oftentimes go from power plants and they get this what's called coal fly ash sludge, and they take it. So I'm kind of going to be roundabout for a minute, but in the smokestacks of the coal burning power plants, they have what's called coal fly ash, and it's got all the nanoparticulate metals.
But Matt, they don't use coal anymore. They use fairy dust. They don't use coal. It's fairy dust.
Eco coal.
Eco coal.
I think what's happening at these bases is they get this burned coal, and they can filter out the chemicals that they need, and then spray them on us because they're already like nano size when they burn the coal. But either way, he says that his buddy works at this base, and his job is every time these drones land, that within minutes, he's got to go load them up with canisters with a forklift with these compressed like aluminum, whatever they're spraying. And he does it all night and day. He loads up these unmanned craft, they land, and he goes with a forklift and puts the canisters on the bottom of these aircraft, you know, ready to spray. And it was a very interesting piece of the puzzle for me, because at the time I was like thinking that, you know, all the airlines were just like somehow spraying them out of the wingtips or something, like how they were fitting the luggage and the people and the jet fuel and all that shite in there, and then some compressed chemicals. I had no idea, but I don't think that the airlines spray like we previously thought. And so that'll have to be disclosed in my next movie, like dissecting that. And then
I would say on that one, Matt, I won't beat yourself up too much, because I think your film was that groundbreaking that, like in any research you do, I mean, I've just written a book, and when you read through it, I think, bollocks, I've missed that bit out, or I found some new information. You just can't get it all right. If you've got 99%, which I would say you've got that and more probably in that film, one little comment. I know it does. It grates me as well, but one little comment. And I'm sure, Chris, when you're doing some art, it grates you when you know there's an error somewhere. You know, it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
But it could also be a bit of both. It could be a little bit of that and a lot of that, or vice versa. I will say,
can I say? Can I just go on, Chris?
Around the back of my house here, there's a big because it's flat Cambridge, so there's a big window of sky here. And when they spray, they go in the same direction because the sun comes up here, and they go straight over it and zigzag it, kind of thing.
Straight through the sun, if you like.
Yeah, and then it dissipates over the sun. But when they're not spraying, there's no plane, so it can't be a flight path. I don't see any planes going yet. And I also noticed when it's a bank holiday, there's no spraying. I think they must take the weekend off. Whoever's operating the drone. I'm not even joking. The 2 bank holidays, we just had 2 bank holidays. There was nothing. I put it on my calendar. That's weird. I hadn't seen one. And then when there is none, there's no planes. There should be zigzagging up and down here, but there isn't any. So it can't be a flight path, even though we live near an airport. So it must just be when they're spraying, if you know what I mean.
And I would say as well, they could add certain chemicals to the fuel, or I use could add certain chemicals to fuel or whatever, or to whatever is fuel in a plane, right? And they're unknowingly spraying stuff out. They might not even know.
Yeah, but
that's a possibility. I'm not saying it is that. Yeah,
right. But they turn on and off. You know.
Yeah.
And there's reasons why I don't think that is legit. And then there's also people who do push that narrative who I just simply don't trust. So I've realized that maybe that narrative isn't accurate also, but thanks for that. And Chris, I love that point that you made. That is so freaking valid, because on the days when they're not spraying, there's no planes in the sky at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, like there's the regular air traffic doing their little thing, but people just like think, oh, I must be over a air corridor, a flight path or whatever. Because when they do spray, I'm looking at like 20 planes in like a 10-minute time frame. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And people just think, oh, wow, I guess everyone's going to Egypt today, you know, or whatever they're doing. You know what I mean?
There is a local airport to it. I'll have to look where it is, actually, because I can see where they set off from, actually, Matt. I should probably look myself. And it's directly over there, because some of them I've seen them go up and they're spraying as soon as they set off. Some of them turn it on when they get up, but I actually know where it is. Wherever it is, it's over. Just I can see them take off from over there. I know there's a few private airports around here, so it might be easy to track down exactly where.
Yeah,
it's,
some of them, like you can tell the trajectory because they're literally. It's like a NASA patent called barium release rocket, and it's from like 1978 or something like that. This patent. But what they do, you can tell it looks like a rocket. It goes straight up. And then once it gets to cruising altitude, it literally makes like a right angle. And then it starts to like go and spray like a plane. But based on that, you can basically figure out like trigonometry, where they're coming from, essentially. So that's a thing. And yeah, I love this photo of the rippled sky. And that's a whole conversation too about them zapping the sky once they're done. So, hey, how's the lighting on me? I kept trying to get this light on my face, but then I had this like bright spot on my head. Am I in the dark?
No, you sound, man. It's fine. All the sound is perfect. Yeah.
Can I just make two more observations about your film?
Go on, Chris.
One was the indigenous. He looked like a Native American guy. And bearing in mind your film's now 10 years old, and he says, and this is something that's very relevant now when we're talking about weather. And he says, when the spray, you can feel it gets cold when it shouldn't get cold, and it gets hot, and then it gets ridiculously cold. And that's something I've only noticed in the last 2 or 3 years. But he obviously noticed it earlier than that. I think, I don't know if you get hit worse over there, but it's something people are talking about now. That when the sun's gone in, it's freezing. You know,
and not only that, Chris, it gets windy.
Yeah, it gets windy as well. Yeah, like a cold wind.
Cold wind, yeah.
Weird,
even in summer.
Yeah. But it's got hot here now. Even when it was boiling hot, a cloud goes over, it gets cold. You get a cold wind. I don't know what that means. And then another observation I was talking to Dom about earlier was, because this ties into something you mentioned earlier. There's a bit, and you probably don't even remember this, but there's a bit where it's on a news report. Hugo Chavez says that, which is quite interesting after what happened to him, because they tried to get him a few times, didn't they? He said, I think he said an earthquake. They caused an earthquake in Venezuela. I think he said, was it an earthquake? And he said, I think they were making out it was crazy. Hugo Chavez is blaming the American government. And he says, once they've done with there, they're going to go for Iran. And you're like, whoa. Right. And then Don were on about this a while ago, that when they destroyed some of the air bases in the Middle East, Iran's weather got all right again, and it started raining. The drought ended.
Yeah, did you? And that's a lot there that I want to speak to,
sorry.
And I'll do it.
There's so much to talk about.
And I'm gonna grab this light, you guys.
He's getting on your nerves, Matt.
It makes a little hot spot on my forehead, but no, it's actually doing great.
No, it's all right.
Okay, so check it out. Firstly, regarding the fluctuations in temperatures, I'm going to speak in Fahrenheit. Forgive me, everybody. And we can do rough guesstimates of what it is in Celsius and centigrade. So where I live in essentially Northern California we had a really, really hot early spring, early March, like March 10th, it was like 90 degrees, which is like what, 33 or something, 34 degrees there, something like that.
32.2. I got the converter up.
Yeah. Oh, you did you?
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Perfect. So we had this stretch, and they're chemtrailing the whole time. And what they do is they spray the skies with particulates that create a lot of refraction. And I even met a young kid, this freaking like 10-year-old, and he's got solar power, and he was explaining to me that his solar power gets cranked up when they spray. And he thinks it's because the light tries to bounce off the ground and into the atmosphere, but it bounces off the chemtrails and then creates this like back and forth effect. I always thought that maybe they were shredding the ozone, or they're creating so much refraction in the sky that it like magnifies the sun. But either way, they spray and the sun is like unbearable, and the heat index just gets hot. But also at the end of the day, when the air is looking to release into the atmosphere, they blanket the sky with chemicals, and the hot temperatures can't reduce at night as much as they would. And then also they'll even spray the sky and then zap it with ground-based stations like that picture you just showed, and it'll ripple, and they'll literally microwave the sky. But either way, they make heat waves, you know? And what's amazing with like your observation, Chris, and like us out there, is we're not being told what's going on. So literally we have to take the scientific method into our own hands. And then once we do that, we have these realizations on our own, and we cannot be told otherwise by the mainstream media, by the government shills, by our friends, our family, our peers. Once we've actually seen it for ourselves, that's why I like to say, look up, wake up, you know, realize, real skies. Or, you know, I've got these little catchphrases, right? For my memes, you know, because it's a meme world. Literally, once you've seen it for yourself and you see like a plane doing a right angle, or you realize I'm not over a flight corridor, what's going on, or you see like you said, those beautiful skies when there's nothing happening, and you realize like, how come last Monday there was 100 flights going ding, 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 and now this Monday there's none? Like, that's not how the air corridors work. They're actually like the way that the flights are. It's like highways. Like, they don't really veer off. It'd be a total shit show in the sky if they started like being like, oh, I'm going to go over here right now, and then Joe's going to go over there. Like, they might move out of the way of storms and stuff like that. But overall, it's like a highway in the sky. And there's set times. It's like the flight to Spain, to Madrid is going at 10 a.m. and it's going to do that next week. And it's just like, they're set in stone. There's enough people.
They're scheduled. Yeah.
Yeah, they're scheduled. Exactly. So they make heat waves, and I've witnessed it, and I can kind of like theorize how exactly they're making the heat waves, but they do it. Okay. And then here they actually have these like shorter kind of medium trails that they spray that somehow intensify the heat. I think it's something about magnifying the sun, trapping the heat, or maybe it's something that they can microwave kind of thing, but it's almost clear. Like, the sky goes from like a dark blue to like a hazy blue, and then our temperatures ramp up like crazy.
Yeah.
And we're on the verge of another heat wave right now, but we had a incredibly hot early spring, and they don't just make it last for like 2 days. They make it last for about a week, like 6 days. And that like just confuses the shit out of the plants. So they think, okay, it's summer, let's go. And this is all part of the New World Order Agenda 2030 agenda to create basically famine, like food scarcity and what have you. So, and they've been practicing and getting us kind of warmed up to it, no pun intended, making us think that it's just, you know, global warming, climate change, bollocks, whatever. You know, bollocks.
Global climate warming change.
Global climate warming change, right? I've got some Cockney slang that I've got to work into this show. I think it's so funny. So I watched, I digress. I watched Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels the other day, and I love that movie. And they have like subtitles at certain points. And they even said some words that I've learned, you know, from like hanging out with you guys. But my favorite one recently is rabbit and pork, right? But it's not, you can't say rabbit and pork because pork is supposed to rhyme with talk, right? With talk, right? Rabbit
what's rabbit and pork? I've never.
Rabbit and pork is talk.
Yeah.
Rabbit and pork is talk.
I've never heard of that one. But,
so let's have a good rabbit and pork on your show today, right? Yeah. We'll have a good bubble bath. We'll have a great bubble bath.
Yeah, bubble bath. Yeah, bubble
It makes
bath,
me laugh
that
how
one.
the actual slang's longer than the word. It's not like the
Yeah.
shortening the word, is
Right,
it?
It's how they say it, though, isn't it? It's how they say it, though, as well.
Yeah, and you have to
Rabbit
say
and
it in a
pork.
really,
Yeah.
you have to say it in a really thick accent, otherwise it doesn't even rhyme with the other word, right?
Yeah.
My missus literally talks like that. She's South London. She talks like that.
I
She'll
love
deny
it,
it,
yeah.
but she does, because even my daughter takes piss out of her accent.
I'm getting warmed up for the rally because at the last rally there were people that came up to me that were speaking in, Cockney or whatever you call it, and I was just like, "What the fuck are they saying?"
The thing is, Matt, I get that down here from English people when I go up to them and just speak in my Yorkshire accent. Hello, how you doing?
Yeah.
They look at me like, "What the fuck did he just say?"
Yeah.
I can see their eyes change. To, "Oh, he just said."
That's funny.
Until they get used to the fact that you speak better English than me and him, don't you?
Yeah.
Funny. In Canada, they actually have regions where in Nova Scotia they speak like you wouldn't even believe. It's just like it's another form of English the Cockney slang is hilarious, but in Canada they actually have different provinces that speak completely differently, which is funny too. And they have a French Montreal.
Yeah, a lot of French. Yeah. French. Just
And
one
I
more
noticed
thing
in
from your
that-
film, Matt.
Go on, Chris.
Sorry.
I've got a few questions myself. But
I just
you
wanted
keep putting in.
that guy. What's that guy up to now? David Keefe, the guy who's creepily talking about. He was on about all the geoengineering, and you've got him in a few different situations where he's been interviewed, and someone actually pulls him up because he says it should be illegal for governments to make money out of this, and then the guy goes, "Well, haven't you got a private company that's?" And he goes, "Yeah, but that's different." He kind of backtracks a little bit. But,
well, to be honest, I've got a live webcam on like what he does, and right now he's taking it in the arse from Bill Gates. So I had to go there.
I was looking at it, like, what?
Yeah.
I was going to Google it before we came on because I was just
With a double
curious
ender.
what he's up to now.
Yeah, exactly. No, and he's Canadian. David W. Keith is actually Canadian, Harvard professor out of Calgary, Canada. But just to wrap up the one thing that I was saying, then we'll move on to Iran, and then I want to hear what you have to say. No, I'm sorry. So they ramp up the temperatures. They make everyone think, the plants and the people think that it's like going to be an early hot spring, summer, whatever. And then we get a crazy frost right afterwards, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a guy that I found, he doesn't want to be interviewed about geoengineering. He thinks I'm a nutter, but this guy did a little breakdown of his cherry farm recently. And he was like, it's like a you pick cherry farm. So you go and pick on your own. And he's like, sorry, everyone. I went through the orchard this year and there's like 10 cherries in the whole lot, Maybe
he should listen to you, Matt. Maybe he should listen to you.
Yeah, he should fucking listen to me for sure. And he should be in my movie. He should be in my next movie as well, because he's right there living it full, right in his face. And his stupid ass thinks it's carbon emissions from fucking people breathing or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
He thinks it's global climate warming change.
Use your loaf.
Yeah, use your fucking loaf.
So, anyways, I mean, like, seriously. And so they did this back and forth where we had three.
That was so funny.
Oh, brilliant.
We had three different frosts come. We had a frost like a couple weeks ago, like about 2 weeks ago, we had a frost. And then all of a sudden they ramp it up to like 90 again, and the frost is freezing. So I don't need to tell you what that is. It's 32. And I think that's 0 for you guys. And literally the plants are just so confused. The sensitive things, like greens, like cilantro, which you all call something else. It's slipping my mind what you call cilantro.
I forgot what we call it now. We call cilantro.
I know this, but I don't know.
It'll come to me in a bit. Yeah. It'll come to me in a bit. It's in the cupboard and it's named something different. But anyways, the cilantro will bolt. Certain things will just completely bolt. Even like corn will like bolt, thinking like, oh no, it must be winter. I got to get ready and make my seeds for next year. So the cherry tree that my friend has, usually we're getting buckets and buckets of cherries off this beautiful, massive tree. Literally, she showed me the other day, it's a little bowl of like a dozen cherries this year. And it's just this calculated attack on the food supply. And there's going to be like a skyrocketing food prices and all this sort of stuff. And it's just what they're doing. It's calculated and it's happening. And that's part of the agenda. And then
can I ask you a question, Matt? based on your obviously, you like you've said, there's some new stuff you want to put in there, and a couple of changes and tweaks to your research from 2017, if you like. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How much of the weather would you say is controlled now? Or is it manipulated, not controlled?
Like 100%. You know.
Yeah.
Either they're letting something come through because they need to clear the skies. So some days when it's like a beautiful blue sky, and I'm like, oh, finally, and I'd run outside and take off my shirt and like lay in the real sun. Like later on that day, they'll start coming with their primer planes. And I've realized that nowadays when we have a clear sky, it's just because they can't just keep adding a fuckload of chemicals. It's like when you make a soup, you don't want to start with your old base and just keep adding on like.
Because what I know is, even if it's a clear day, if you look as far as you can see, there's still, like you call it a primer, there's still like a cloud or a film or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's sort of a clear film, it's just so maybe that's there forever.
You wonder how much you spraying it in the evening, how much you spraying at night when you can't see them, or when it's cloudy.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it gets really windy and it blows things out. And then I think maybe they're just not trying to add to the wind because it's like not as easy for them to.
I suppose as well, they could be attempting to control it every single day. Whether they do control it every day, because obviously Mother Nature's going to have an effect as well, whether they like it or not. He's going to fuck up the plans sometimes, and maybe blow it off course, so we get a nice day, maybe. But there will be aspects of it where, I think there's certain climates they can control totally, as this type of thing. Hang on a minute. This story here sort of proves that.
Right. So in the US where I live, and in the UK where you all live, they're controlling it all the time. But do they have bases like everywhere? No. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that easy to control it over maybe Iran, for instance, and other places. And I do think there's pockets in the US where they have more natural weather. But when there is a perfectly beautiful clear sky like we're used to from our childhoods, and there's those white fluffy clouds and there's no air traffic, I encourage people to keep their eyes to the sky, because in just another day, they're going to start with their fuckery. They're going to start priming the sky with what other people will call contrails. And they'll keep laying these contrails out until which I think are barium, and they prime the sky, and then later on that day or the next day, their other chemicals will stick because they've primed the sky. It's sometimes like they need to clear out purposefully. So even those days that are clear, they're engineered so that they can clear out the sky, so they can start over from scratch with their chemicals. You know, I also say it's like painting on fresh canvas. It's like, nobody wants to just start painting over a painting that they've used. You know, it's better just to get a fresh canvas and just start over from scratch, because you're adding different, stuff and what have you. So regarding the story out of Iran, very interesting for sure. Which is like, for one, they were saying that Iran doesn't have any internet. They were saying that. So I found that curious, right? And then, I just realized my good webcam's not even working. That's bullshit. How's it look?
It looks fine, mate. Honestly, it looks
cilantro is coriander, by the way. I didn't.
Yeah, I looked it up too.
Yeah, I didn't.
I was about to say that.
I thought I knew what it was, but I didn't.
But what they're saying about Iran was that the radar systems that the US had planted in the Middle East countries was controlling certain aspects of the weather. And when Iran attacked these installations, it started raining again, because they had a drought there for, I think, 10 years.
It would explain. I mean, you've brought up that beforehand in your film about the amount of patents there are for weather control. So I mean, you don't have to look much further really for actual solid proof that there is weather control there.
Well, again, he used JFK, didn't he? JFK's story in the film was that that he was telling you that they were already doing it then. He
controls the weather, controls the world.
Why would they make an act of whatever it was, the UN, saying that you couldn't use a weather weapon on another country, which again, it's bollocks, isn't it? Of course, using weather weapons in Africa to starve people out so they can dig nickel cadmium and whatever battery, so they can displace people. Have the whole argument about illegal immigration and stuff like that because they can't grow crops there anymore. And when in reality, they just want what's there, don't they? They want to steal their natural resources. Glencore, I think, the huge mining company is.
So this bit, I just changed webcams live. So just to let you know. So in my film,
you're a bit crisper.
In my film, Frankenstein.
Yeah, you're a bit crisper there now, Matt. Yeah.
Did y'all see in the film Frankenstein that there's a bit about the president of Iran, Ahmadinejad, and he's saying that the U.S. is controlling the weather? Did you all get to that clip? In the
I watched all of it.
Yeah, watched it all. Yeah.
I mean, you played it just now in the.
Oh, right, sorry.
In the beginning. Yeah.
I didn't watch the beginning bit. Yeah, I watched it.
I'm not sure if you. No, you didn't get to that.
No, it didn't get to that. We're only 30 minutes that I put on there.
Yeah, so people. This is a 2018 film, Frankenstein. Please watch it if you haven't. And at like the 45-minute mark, something like that, there's a news bit, and she's like clowning, making fun of the president of Iran, and she's saying he claims that the U.S. and their allies are engineering the weather and preventing rain from getting to Iran, which is like, now that they're saying that it's actually true. It's amazing that clip was put into Frankenstein, which is something else. Yeah. But the fact that the mainstream hopped on this, I find it so curious. Like, I don't know what to believe anymore. It's such an upside down world. Like, even the Epstein files, it's like, okay, they released them, but then they did nothing about it. But then they want us to know that they are child eating pedos, but they want us to know that they didn't do anything about it. They're trying to just like dismantle us. Like, they didn't have to do all that. They didn't even have to release them, you know? So it's like,
we didn't even have to know about Epstein. We didn't even have to know about Epstein.
No, we didn't have to know anything. So I think like in game, they're getting everyone upset, and then probably they'll have some like leader come out and like assassinate Trump or something, the Antichrist, and then they'll be like, I stand for anti-pedos, and then we'll be like, yay! But he'll actually be the devil also, or something like that. Like, what is their play? Like, why would they tell us all these things? Surely we're in a lower frequency, and there's a frequency war, and it's like a spiritual battle and all this sort of stuff. But when this first started coming out about the Iran thing, I was like, yeah, they're telling the truth. And then I was like, wait a second, what are you talking about, Matt? They're telling the truth. You know? And then the mainstream media was like, Iran hasn't had the internet all this time, but then they're releasing all this imagery of like the waterfalls are back and the lakes are filling and they're getting their rain back, and they no longer have to move the capital because they were going to move Tehran, or however you say that, to somewhere else, and all this. I mean, yeah, it's true that they're engineering the weather and that they're preventing rain from getting to Iran. But is it true that Iran destroyed weather installation facilities in the United Arab Emirates and neighboring countries and Saudi Arabia, and now they're getting rain? I don't know. I'm not there. I mean, I would love for it to be true so that I could put it in my next movie and be like, I told you so. What do we know is even true anymore?
Well, it's the same. It's the same with the RFK and the vaccines cause autism. I've been questioning that for some time. I got a bit of shit about it, actually, where I'm not saying they don't tip kids over the edge. I know they do. I've seen evidence of this myself in with people I know. But I think, again, what they're spraying, the historical toxins that we're passing down into generations, these are even more important, the EMFs that we're getting battered with, all of the above is causing these problems. It isn't just one thing. And I think it's a cul-de-sac that we get led down, similar to what you've just said about all airplanes are spraying this stuff out. It's obviously not true that. It's a military operation, not a commercial operation. They might use some commercial activities, but it is a military operation. And not only that, as you keep saying, Chris, and I need to download that video as well, from the Blade table, you know, that meeting. It's like the people in the Blade table meeting, and there's certain agendas that are on that table that won't be changed. COVID was one of them. You know, all these agendas, the weather's another one. But then everything else underneath they can fight over. But these are global, worldwide agendas that all the people who are running the shit agree on.
I was going to say, Matt, in connection with what you were saying about, is it true or not? Something I've noticed, I know we always end up talking about films. There's a lot of films with a lot of conspiracy coming out. I mean, it's happened for a good few years now, but even more so now, we're to a point where they've got like really good directors making films about the things we go on about. I mean, that one that I haven't watched, the one with Leonardo DiCaprio, Snowpiercer. Yeah. I mean, he's a famous director, isn't he? He's that Korean guy. I forget. Is it Bond? And it's quite a good film, that is, as well. But I don't know if you've seen that, Dom, but the beginning of it literally starts.
No, you've told me about it. You have told me about it.
Saying the spray, literally the beginning, first 5 minutes, they're spraying the skies to stop the sun.
Right.
And then
It's chemtrails at the very beginning. And then they say, oh dear, we actually tried to stop global warming, climate change, bollocks, nonsense, whatever. And then we created an ice age. Oopsies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been in a few films where, I mean, well, forget the fact it's been in a few films where they're trying to solve a disease or an illness and then they end up killing everybody, and that's the apocalyptic future. Yeah, Ian Flux. Yeah, that's the other one, isn't it? I watched that when it came out, actually. But
we're going to have to get this movie, guys. We're going to have to get this movie.
I knew you were going to say that.
I know we're going to.
Man. We can talk about it now quickly, but what I was going to say,
some other stuff to talk about. I want to talk about some other stuff.
Just give it 5 minutes. Have you seen that film Eddington? That new one. And again, these are by famous directors, and it's the first time they're addressing the 2020 nonsense.
I like the Spielberg one as well, Chris. What's the Spielberg one? Disclosure thing.
But they've got people going into, the main guy going into a shop without a mask on, and they're arguing about masks. That's never been shown in a film before. And you've got this other woman who's reciting conspiracies. What I mean is, and I was talking to Don about this, is there's that Eddington, there's that other Begonia where she gets kidnapped. Emma Stone's in it. She's in both of them, actually. And she gets kidnapped because these two lunatics think she's an alien. And she's here to
that one was great. I just watched that.
I really enjoyed that one. I enjoyed both of these two, to be honest with you. But what I mean is, I was trying to think, what's the point though? Because they both got conspiracies in them, big ones as well. And there's a few more. There's that Leonardo DiCaprio, I can't remember the name. I haven't seen that. But I thought, what is the point? And usually by the end of it, the conspiratorial people end up dead or insane, or they're actually shows that they're insane. But also on a deeper level, saying to Dom, is they've got to address it now, haven't they? Because everyone's talking this talk. So it's got to be addressed. Otherwise, Hollywood and the film industry would look redundant, wouldn't it? Because you always look to Hollywood, even though it's wrong, for edgy stuff, things that are edgy or just on the brink, like All the President's Men and that after Watergate and stuff. So they've got to address it. They've got no choice at this point because everyone's talking about it. So then they do address it, but then they make all the conspiratorial thinkers look bonkers or end up dead.
It's damage control and it's social engineering. They really have to social engineer the masses into the othering. Like, that's not me. I'm not that crazy. I'm going to get in line with the other sheep. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that Begonia, they have a lot of little truth drops about
about
a lot of things. I've found
good film, isn't it? It's a good film, and he's a good director. That guy. He's made some good films, but they're all verging on that. They've all got some ulterior motive going. There's another thing I've been watching called Common Side Effects, which is good, and it's an animation, and it's about a guy who discovers a mushroom. I'd recommend it to anyone listening. Common Side Effects. He discovers a mushroom and it can cure any ailment. So he's got the pharmaceutical company after him trying to kill him, and all this other stuff going on.
That never happened, Chris.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, but that's in I think it was Channel 4.
I'm joking there, by the way.
Yeah, no. Right, I think it's Channel 4. Yeah, and you just think, why are these things all of a sudden now becoming like
normalization and damage control? Like you say,
damage control. Yeah, it's very, very easy way of summing up everything I said.
They are the fringe magnets, aren't they? Where they're steering people down the road and then go, it's all bollocks, so at the end of it.
But also, like I said, they've got to address it. They've got to address it, haven't they? Because it's become so blatantly obvious. Like we were on about, Dom, when they made JFK in the 90s, you were saying that the people were starting to re-question JFK again in the 90s. So they had to make the film for damage control. To give their version of the events.
And maybe that's what Hollywood is, just damage control. And predictive programming.
Well, I think that they work in conjunction with in real time. So they're like, okay, we've got to brainwash these sheep. Oh, they're waking up a little too much. Let's hit them with this. Oh, they're getting here. Let's make it seem like a joke, and let's normalize this and erode the fabric of humanity or whatever it is. So earlier you mentioned RFK, and I have to just mention something about that. People come to me all the time. I even see people like out in the streets where I live in this nice small town. When I go to my organic co-op grocery store, very often people bump into me because I post in this local group and I get like attacked And also some people are like, no, Matt's right. There actually are spraying the skies. And, it's like this back and forth. But people come to me even at the gym and they say, thank you for speaking the truth, And then their first question is, what can we do about it? Right? I get this a lot. What can we do about the spraying? And they know, and then they find out, oh, I've been at it for a dozen years and I made this movie and I go on these podcasts and I have these rallies and la-ti-da. And then so they think I'm like this voice of reason and I have the information for them. But they're already still brainwashed and conditioned or whatever. And God bless them, we're all like brainwashed to a degree, but they're stuck in these paradigms where they're not ready for my answer, which is we need to wake up others, talk to our peers, grassroots things. They literally love this, like RFK is going to stop it for you. Like just send him a check. Like they want me to say, send RFK all your money or a check, send RFK, $1,000 and you'll have played your part and you don't have to do anything else. But then when I start to talk to them about what they can do, take care of their body, eat differently. If you can't control what's in the skies, if you can't control what's outside of you, at least you can control what's inside of you, and you can chelate and these different things about mineralizing your body and eating differently and, all these things. And especially grassroots activism, like your voice matters, like little baby steps. And if all of us did want this and blah, 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 they just look at me like I'm nuts and they go back to living their normal lives because it's not the answer that they wanted. They want me to coddle them and tell them what they already think and they already know. And they're asking me because part of them like just wants to be told a lie. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's insanity.
They want a leader or a shepherd as a leader would be. They want somebody they can trust. It's a weird sensation that they're willing to give their life, as in their jurisdiction, over to a total fucking stranger.
Well, that's back to Hollywood. It's because like Batman, Superman, and all these like heroes have done things, and the common man just lets them borrow his car for like 30 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like they don't have to really get it.
Even like
mainstream jobs, they have mainstream family. Their grandmother or their mom might shun them, or their friend or their girlfriend or their partner or whatever it is. They have these people in their lives that they don't want to be, because you go back to like Begonia, that guy was like totally crazy. And people don't want to be identified as that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to ruin the end, but it's like, and even by saying that, I probably already did. But it's just, it's a great flick. Did you see that one?
It's a good. I haven't seen it. No.
Always that guy's films. I remember his name is a Greek guy, bro. All his films are really good, but they're all on a brink of. I think he's a system director. But this is what I was trying to say is that they're bringing art house directors in to do these things, not just schlock. It's not just crap. They're actually making good films.
Big actors and everything.
Film. I really enjoyed it, but it was.
Let's face it, Chris. These films, from a cost perspective,
I've not seen that.
No. Oh wow! You guys got to watch this one. Moonwalkers. Yeah, add that to your list. And I don't mean to interrupt you, Dom. I'll just do a little plug on Moonwalkers. Right. It's set in London, and it's about Stanley Kubrick filming the moon landings. And the whole thing is like about that. And at the end, you don't even know if the moon landing is real or fake, and they leave it to you to question. But it's like a total disclosure like piece, but it's hilarious. It's a really great comedy.
I tell you what we're seeing over here. We're seeing certain mainstream people. I'll use Dom Jolly as an example, Chris. Being either paid or cajoled. So he was a comedian in the early 2000s, and he was sort of famous with a comedy called Trigger Happy TV. He's about my age type of thing, mine and Chris's age, a bit older than me, I think. But he disappeared. He weren't on TV. I think he had some mental issues and what have you. Then all of a sudden, just after COVID, he wrote a book, and it was called it was like an anti-conspiracy book, even though he wasn't a conspiracy. And he wrote a book and went on a tour talking about how stupid conspiracy theorists are. And his career seems to have set off again. But this is total bullshit, this book, You were talking about stuff that we've never talked about. I've never heard anybody talk about it. Like Finland doesn't exist, or...
Don't forget the tour as well, Fi. He did a tour.
Yeah, that's what I said. He did a tour. He's done a tour. And he goes on mainstream TV selling his tour, And so we've seen on the opposite side of making films, there are also individuals that are seemingly paid. And what he didn't like as well, Matt, I'll have to say, I did a load of research on his history and his family, and he fucking hated it. He called us out on Facebook.
He called us thick as mince. Look.
He called us thick as mince, yeah. Look.
T-shirt.
Great.
But I did all his genealogy, and it took him back, and all his great grandfat parents were all diplomats, and two of them were ran a spy school.
I'll tell you something funny about it. All his books are £11.65.
Yeah.
He does. I think he's been writing tourist books. Tourists. And then the one conspiracy one's called The Conspiracy Tourist. And
That's
it's
£6.50. Yeah,
it's £6.50.
So he was paid to go around all these countries around the world to study the conspiracy theory in this country, the certain country, to come back and say it was total bollocks in his book.
More damage control. And he plays as a number 11 because all the New Ager people love 11. So if he just drops a few 11s around, everyone will worship him. And that's what that is. 650 is 11, 1156 is 11.
But we are finding this, whether it's the great apocalypse and the unraveling or unveiling or whatever we want to call it, that they are making films. They are putting time and effort. There's a lady over here called Mariana Spring that ran some kind of podcast that worked for the BBC, calling out conspiracy theorists, calling us dangerous individuals and stuff like this. This is mainstream TV that we pay our tax money into to fund. And they're willing to, in a time of this DEI inclusivity, they're willing to ostracize one particular small portion, a minority, if you like, of the population, and call them dipshits and mentally ill.
They were doing it in America as well.
Maybe we need to add ourselves to the LGBTQIA plus conspiracy theorists.
Yeah. Then the captain. What color would we have? That's the worrying thing.
No, this word needs to get put to bed. I should probably talk about this in my little speech in London, because 1963, JFK got assassinated, and then they came up with conspiracy theorist, the word, just to shun people and to bully them and ostracize them. And I bet when they came up with that word, they never would have thought it would have lasted another 60 years. But here we are, and it's still prevalent. But that word needs to get put to bed. I'm sorry. It's just over.
Well, I think they've used it that much now that, I mean, if people say to me, what do you do? I'll say, well, I've got a podcast. What's it about? I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'll even say that now. And they'll go, all right, then what do you talk about? It doesn't even register because they've used it that much.
There was a fella doing the rounds in America, actually, and he was doing a similar thing. He'd written a book about conspiracies. And what I noticed was there's a few of them, and they all said the same line. I used to think conspiracies were fun, but then these guys become dangerous. That's what they all said, the same line. And the one doing the rounds in America, he'd written a book. I heard him on a few podcasts. He was a Rothschild. And he actually said he was a Rothschild. He said, but I'm not, he said he used to compile the history of Rothschilds in his book.
That's all right.
But he would just say, we're all right, really, just from a banking family.
What do you mean he used to rewrite the history of the books?
Yeah, well, yes. he was doing the
forgot to mention it.
He'd written a book about it. Yeah, he'd be doing the rounds. The same in America. I wonder what the
funny. Was this the birds aren't real guy? Was it? Probably not. But that birds aren't real thing. Whenever I meet someone new that's new to the conspiracy space, instead of telling them who I am and all this stuff, because they'll just freak out, I expose them to the birds aren't real. And I go, look, there's actually government officials. What? Yeah, they're paid to actually pretend to be. No. Oh yeah, really. They're paid to pretend to be conspiracy theorists to make truther people look bad. And so when I tell you the word chemtrails, you might have it in your head that those are nutters and you don't want to look at the sky because you've already been programmed. But there's people out there on this birds aren't real tip, and then they make everyone else look bad. It's a whole thing. I mean, to grasp it, there's levels of awakening, right?
I mean, how many people do you know that jumped over the fence, that see all of this stuff, that jump back again? How many people? I don't know.
Not many, but I do have a friend who did jump back, but I think it's because she had some douchebag boyfriend that was like totally like usually they have like a partner that's like, what, you think that? And they're like, no, I don't think that. I don't think that at all. And then they just like convince themselves that they don't think that anymore, which is also very interesting. And,
I found his book. That guy, Mike Rothschild, is called. Call him Mike, so it sounds a bit friendlier. His book's called "The World's Worst Conspiracies: The Truth They Don't Want You to Know."
Mention all about Zionism. I don't like that in that book.
And that, oh God, £3.50. That went well, didn't it? That Dom Jolly one had 40% off. None of his other
available in every charity shop. Yeah.
So interesting that you do research on families and stuff. My grandfather was famous. And I find that really interesting. And people, I tell them that, and then they're like, "Oh, what are you in the, you know, are you a Rothschild or whatever?" But no, he was a famous person. He was a singer, and the first TV show in the United States in 1950, Frank Sinatra tried to get the job, but my granddad, his name was Roy Landman. His stage name was Snooky Lanson, and he beat out.
What a name! Brilliant name.
Yeah. He beat out for Sinatra, and they did like the top 10 hits, and they did the countdown of like the top 10 songs, and then he would dance it and sing it out. And then in 1956, Elvis was Jailhouse Rock was the #1 song, and he tried to do his like Rat Pack old fashioned version of Jailhouse Rock, and the producers was like, "You got to shake around and act like Elvis," and he's like, "Fuck you." And he got fired, and he was, you know, drunk, and I never saw any of that money or anything like that because he was like kind of like a gambling drunk guy. But I've always questioned, like, did he rub elbows with, and you know, was he a sellout? I really don't think so. I really don't. But
I don't think all famous people are sellouts, Matt. I think the law of averages tells you that they all can't be. It's an impossible. No, I'm not. I also think that if you think of whatever we do, whether we recur and come back around and we're ancient bloodlines, when you do research into genealogy, there are people that fight against the system as well, and they might be barons and dukes and things like that. They're not all for the system. They fight against the king. The king has them killed, puts them in the Tower of London, whatever. You know, they're not all. They're not all bad people.
French Revolution,
exactly. But just like all slaves weren't slaves. Some of them took over the slave ship. They escaped the chains and kicked fuck out of the people who put them on the ship and took over it, because you're actually locking up warriors or warlords in chains. Some of them are going to escape. And so,
just as a side note, we had a few friends over last weekend, and they're from Bulgaria, and they were confused about the whole slave thing because slaves in Bulgaria were white.
Yeah, exactly.
When they came here, they didn't understand what everyone was going on about the black slave thing. They didn't get it. They were like, we're in Bulgaria.
But they would be called racist and ignorant, Chris. Even though they realised that from their perspective, thousands of slaves were white.
Yeah.
And they'll have said they're good workers. I bet they even said they were good dancers.
Good dancers, Natural rhythm.
Good singers, all-round entertainers, in fact. Sing, motherfucker. Oh, yeah.
So are we done talking about movies? Because there's a couple more movies I want to just...
No, let's crack on, man. Let's crack on.
And did you have the clip? Did you have that clip?
I did have the clip, yeah.
So really quick, for people that
I'll
haven't
just
seen...
load it up. It might just come on as we're talking because I can't control the...
let's watch it.
Why? I don't know why it does that every time. But just, do you want to give an intro into what film it is?
Oh, yeah. So we're always talking about movies, so I grabbed a handful of DVDs that are like, you know, conspiracy driven, because there's... Obviously, they're telling us things in these movies. Demolition Man, when was this? Like 1993, it says.
93, yeah.
And Demolition Man...
Just after 2020, I rewatched that film. I remember.
Did you? Has everyone seen it?
Yeah.
Did you ever see it, Dom?
Yeah,
I haven't seen it. Yeah.
Oh, it's great. It's great because there's a dystopian future where everyone is just totally lame, and they listen to like Oscar Mayer Wiener songs and like hits from like commercial hits from like
jingles. Jingles.
Yeah, they listen to jingles, and if you curse, there's like an AI that like prints you a ticket no matter where you are. And like Stallone is from like the 90s or whatever, and he's like, fuck this, fuck that, and then like he needs to use the toilet, but there's these seashells that they never explain, and then he just like curses and then uses the tickets as toilet paper because there's like seashells next to the toilet. They never explain it in the movie because it's just a weird dystopian future. For high fives, they like go like this, and they don't touch each other for the high fives, and it's all just really like fake and gay. It's hilarious. So, or lame, you know, whatever. So then, sorry, I'm not homophobic or anything. So then,
we've all seen that South Park episode.
So Wesley Snipes is like this baddie that they unfreeze because they want to create like chaos, and then the police unfreeze Stallone to fight Snipes, and then underground in the sewers are where like all the real people live who don't want to be like part of this dystopian bullshit like world where they're monitored and there's the AI and they can't touch. And even like Stallone tries to have sex with Sandra Bullock, and they put these like electrodes on their heads, and he's like, what the hell is this? It's just like totally weird and dystopian. But underground, they're real and they're normal, even though like they eat rat burgers and they, are a little grungy, and they're portrayed as like scavenger, like Neanderthal. They're portrayed as like dirty, gross, whatever, savages is the word I was looking for. But this clip, Dennis Leary, who I don't know if anybody knows, he was a comedian in like the 80s, 90s, and he's hilarious. And this clip is just so real.
It nails it. It nails it.
It nails it, yeah, of what's going on in the world right now and where we're headed. And like I wanted to mention earlier, like they're messing with the food supply, and they're messing with the ability for us to grow vegetables and stuff. And they're putting up data centers that are evidently giving all the nearby livestock stillbirths and what have you. And you better believe it, they're going to push this whole eating bugs thing more and more and more as the food supply gets expensive. Like for me, I tried to get an organic peach the other day, and it wasn't even that big, and it was like $5, which is like £4. It was like ridiculous for just like a peach. And we're going to see this food supply price increase, and then eventually scarcity, and it's going to be a little shit show. And I think as the world starts to change and as technocracy, shows itself, we're going to have to adapt. And that means creating a different way of living, to showing the next generation that there's a different way that we can live. And it doesn't mean living on the ground like this Dennis Leary rant, but it does mean like learning how to farm, learning how to be community oriented, learning how to create like alternative means of commencing commerce, like a barter exchange network and what have you. But we have to see the writing on the wall and live accordingly, and not act dumb when all of a sudden all this shit falls apart.
The producer, right, of this film, I'm just going to share this before we play it. It's called Joel Silver. Have you heard of him, Chris?
Yeah.
Big producer. Have you seen the films he's produced?
Yeah.
All the Matrix films, Conspiracy Theory, Gothica. I mean, that were a decent film as well in its day, wasn't it?
Everything in the 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think he did. Didn't he do the
48 Hours? Lethal Weapons, Predator.
Lethal Weapons, that's what I was trying to say.
Die Hard.
He was literally the producer in the 80s, wasn't
it? There's some films, them out there.
Wow.
Everything.
What a list.
I suppose if it wasn't him, it were them other two guys, wasn't it? The Weinsteins, wasn't it?
Oh, Weird Science. Nice.
Yeah, it was either this guy or them who produced everything, I think. Yeah.
V for Vendetta.
Oh, no way. That's a
V
list.
for Vendetta, yeah. That is a list. And it's also a list of films where you'd say they were like Demolition Man, like we're going to play in a sec, that they, like Conspiracy Theory and all this, they were releasing information out there into the Matrix, obviously, into the ether that people didn't even know. The general public didn't even know. And maybe that's why they Hollywood it up, because they wanted to think it's just fiction.
Mm-hmm. Another interesting thing about Demolition Man is this is before Schwarzenegger was a politician. He ended up being the governor of California, but way before that.
Screw your freedom.
In the movie, there's a Schwarzenegger library because he ended up being a politician later on.
I think Taco Bell's like a fine dining restaurant as well, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like the restaurant is Taco Bell, which is funny too.
Right, let's play it then. Let's.
See, according to Cocteau's plan, I'm the enemy because I like to think, I like to read, I'm into freedom of speech and freedom of choice. I'm the kind of guy that likes to sit in a greasy spoon and wonder, gee, should I have the T-bone steak or the jumbo rack of barbecue ribs with the side order of gravy fries? I want high cholesterol. I want to eat bacon and butter and buckets of cheese, okay? I want to smoke a Cuban cigar the size of Cincinnati in the non-smoking section. I want to run through the streets naked with green Jell-O all over my body reading Playboy magazine. Why? Because I suddenly might feel the need to, okay, pal? I've seen the future. You know what it is? It's a 47-year-old virgin sitting around in his beige pajamas drinking a banana broccoli shake singing, I'm an Oscar Mayer wiener. You live up top, you live Cocteau's way. What he wants, when he wants, how he wants. Your other choice, come down here, maybe starve to death.
All right, then why don't you take charge and lead these people out of here?
I'm no leader. I do what I have to do. Sometimes people come with me. All I want to do is bury Cocteau up to his neck in shit and let him think happy, happy thoughts forever.
And I got bad news. I think he wants to kill you.
Dun, dun, dun.
It is a good film. I watched it, like I said, recently, and I did thoroughly enjoy it, to be fair.
Yeah, but how dare these savages want freedom and be able to do what they want and be able to eat meat and, smoke a cigar, right?
Yeah.
That's where they want us, isn't it? In a hole.
Mm-hmm.
That is where they want us. I got a video actually to play of a film. Last time it got turned off, but I've checked it on YouTube and it seems all right. So I'm going to test it anyway. So if it goes off, everyone might have to join us on a different stream. But it's John Carter. Did I play it for you, Matt? Before? I don't think I have. No. And it's a film I've never watched, but somebody sent it me. Yeah, you've watched it. I'm sure you have as well, Matt. Have you watched John Carter film?
Maybe a long time ago. Was this like?
It was a Disney film. It was one of the biggest flops ever. They spent a fortune on it. It didn't make any money. Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not.
Edward Rice Burroughs books from there.
Right. There's a scene in it that sort of sums up what we talk about of an overlaying, ruling force, if you like, whatever. I suppose in Star Wars it was the Force, wasn't it? The dark side or whatever. I'll just load it up. So this guy, Mark Strong, who was, he's like some sort of, for want of a better word, to John Carter, an alien. He didn't know who he is, but he's controlling him. So, yeah.
Who are you? American. Who are you, sir? Sir. Definitely the South. The Carolinas? Virginia? It's Virginia, isn't it? Lovely place. You know it? Not as well as I should. But I will.
Padua, what's the holdup?
Sorry, sir. The streets are blocked. It's the wedding procession.
Increased strength and agility. Simple matter of gravitation and anatomy, one we ought to have foreseen. We? No apparent increase in intelligence. Still, this will not do at all. We can't have Earthmen projecting themselves over here, leaping about, causing all manner of disruption.
You're a Thurn.
Therns are a myth.
Padua, we'll go on foot.
Yes, sir.
My name is Matai Shan, and I do not exist. Indeed, I work very hard at it.
She's got the same tan as Donald Trump.
I was thinking you look like the missus. I suppose that Thurn guy's an angel then, isn't it? Good or bad?
Yeah, it goes on for a bit, but we'll.
I'm not going to say that Thurn guy. He's supposed he's saying you're a myth. He's supposed to be like an angel, either a good one or a bad one. I'm not sure, or indifferent. I don't know. I can't remember the film that well. I watched it a long time ago when it came out.
It's just what he says towards the end of this. It's about a 4-minute clip, so I have to bear with it.
It's a shame, really. She's a remarkable creature, and she came very close indeed.
You mean the Ninth Ray?
It's of no consequence now. After tonight's ceremony, when the two moons meet and vows are exchanged, she and anyone else with knowledge of the Ninth Ray will be eliminated.
In effect, cutting the head off the beast. Quick, clean, and precise.
Shame there's no one to warn her. The balance must be restored.
What gives you the right to interfere?
Do you care? This is not your home. You have no obligation to these people. You don't have a dog in this fight. Is that how you would say it in Virginia? Man without a cause.
So what is your cause? We have none. We're not haunted by mortality, as you are. We are eternal.
I don't understand. The wedding, this little straw. Why not just kill me, kill Deja?
History will follow the course we have set, Earthman. And we've chosen Sabda to rule next. The Ninth Ray must remain in the hands of mindless brutes we can control. And the infamy of Deja Thoris's wedding death will seal his reign.
There you go. Anyway, the interesting part is that we all of us talk about there has to be other entities controlling this madness that we live in here. I'm not saying they're alien from outer space, but whether it's an energy thing or what have you. What's your take on that, Matt? That there are possibly things steering, which might mean why that guy says, "What can I do about it?" He's been talked out of it in some sort of energetic way.
Well, it reminded me of also the movie Jupiter Ascending. I don't know if you all have seen that.
That's good. I think a very, very underrated film. That it's got a lot of stuff in it, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty good actually. And then in Jupiter Ascending, the like overlords, they live forever. You know, they figured out how to live forever. I do think, or I have realized, you know, like I don't think it's a theory anymore, that our history is a complete and total lie, and that there is tech beyond our comprehension, you know, and they're not going to let us peons understand the tech that they can, you know, work with whatever it is, stem cells or whatever, however they're able to like live continuously. But I do think that there are human bloodlines that are evil, that work in conjunction with like lower vibrational entities, whether we want to call them demons or maybe demons and others, the LGBTQIA plus demons. And then, you know, there's a lot happening that is completely beyond our comprehension. There's one thing, so we're on a cool conspiracy show, so I'll talk about this. There's one thing that happened over here in, so on the other side of the states, on the east coast of the states, is like Boston, right, in the northeast. And there were these explosions happening. And people were posting about it on social media. I don't know if you all caught wind of it, where people's sliding glass windows were literally being blown out. Like that thick glass in your sliding glass window was being blown out by sonic booms. And it happened in late May and then early June and then like a few days ago. So it happened like, let's say 6 different days. And then the mainstream had to like react. And I swear that sometimes things happen in our real world. And then, yeah, everybody come to the rally, please. We'll talk about that in a second. So I don't know if you can like pull this up really quick because you guys are pretty quick on the sticks. But there were supposedly exploding meteors over Massachusetts.
I did see something like that.
And they made this map of different days, and they're like, oh, there must be these exploding meteors coming down in this certain area, right? And it's like, if we're on a spinning ball, like all this stuff is complete nonsense. But they're trying to say that these meteors are hitting this certain areas on different days and just exploding really loudly and blowing out people's windows and whatnot, right? And so that's the cover story, exploding meteors, right? But what's really happening? Yeah. And it's happening over and over and over. And what I theorized is, I think that there's like good and bad aliens like duking it out, and there's like explosions going on in the sky or something. I don't know exactly, or maybe not even aliens, advanced humans fighting advanced humans, and we're just in the freaking dark. Like, we don't have any clue what the real deal is in this fight for our souls, in this fight for our transhuman potential future. And the baddies on Earth that are like in the know through channeling demons or working with other entities or whatever, they do know how to like live longer or even live forever and sidestep like death. They don't show us, of course, how to do it. And we're stuck in this, fear-based reality, thinking that we all die at the age of 76 or whatever. But I do think that things are a lot, and these are just theoretical talks, so don't like not come to my rally because I'm talking about this. but
This is 2017 though. Fact, this is earlier. This is a different one.
Yeah, this is earlier. Yeah, over the same place.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Oh, over the same place. Yeah, funny. Yeah. So there's these fireball meteors, and the footage is like CGI. And what was happening is people kept talking about it, and then days later, the news was like, "Oh, this just in." It's like, wouldn't you be saying just in like the day of? Like, it's as if the story got so much attention that they had to do some sort of counter narrative to convince the sheeple that it was just a meteor blowing up over their house day after day after day after day. Which, like,
how many times is a meteor?
That was 2017.
Yeah, there it is. There's
That's
one.
In June. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, look, that's a great image. It's like, oh, that's convincing. Now I know why my sliding glass window and all my windows in my house just exploded last night. I think that there is something really nefarious going on, whether it's like a battle of light and dark. Yeah, there is a battle of light and dark. Oh, cool. Let's watch this. Oh, yeah, there's their little.
Oh, yeah, I remember it was green, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah, there's their little bullshit, and that's why like windows are just blowing out of the sky. Oh, they've even got David Wilcox in the corner. Daniel Wilcox. Never mind. That's a whole other story. So, which I don't believe that one either. The thing is we're in the dark, and like even with the chemtrails, we're in the dark, and we've got to use the scientific method and put the pieces of the puzzle together. And then what exactly is being sprayed? We don't even know their true agenda. I mean, like, is it to slow down the evolution of humanity? I think it's really deep and spiritual. I don't think it's just control the weather, control the world.
Or kill us. Yeah.
Or kill everybody. Like, a lot of people think, oh, they just want to kill everybody off. And my response to that is, if they wanted to kill everybody off, they would have just done it already. Like,
exactly.
They've had plenty of opportunities to kill everyone off. They could say Russia sent a nuke. They could have everyone dropping dead from Ebola tomorrow, but actually it'd be the jabs. There's a million ways.
Sprayed, whatever. Yeah.
They don't want to kill everyone off. They want to slow down our evolution, which I think is being triggered by the sun and other things. Probably mostly just like the sunlight triggers our DNA to evolve. And we're supposed to be becoming unfoolable, more like telepathic, like Rudolf Steiner called it spirit man. And by slowing down our evolution, they're buying themselves time to introduce Elon Musk's kids as the poster children for transhumanism. And everyone will adopt this transhumanism agenda. There's no coincidence that they call it LGBTQIA+. The plus in my world stands for transhumanism, because it's going to be part robot people walking around soon, like working with these data centers and what have you. I mean, if you've seen the ramp up of data centers over the past just a few months even, and around the world. They're looking to put in one in Utah, which is like a state over here that's the size of Manhattan, that literally releases the heat of like a Hiroshima atomic bomb like on a daily basis. They don't care. There's a funny meme that I'll butcher, but it's like 2020 and it's like drink out of paper straws because, you know, the environment. 2027 or 2026, wherever we are now, never mind, we're going to blast you with data centers and we don't care about fresh water or heating up everything or unlimited use of your energy and power. And, you know,
it explains why. Do you remember all that stuff about Bill Gates buying all the farmland up? That's what it was all about, probably, isn't it? The data centers.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, because I mean, and is that the satanic vision? Less people, more data centers, more, you know, more constant, instant information of nothing, and less people. That film Eddington, actually, Matt, is about a data center. It's got a big chunk of it about a data center being built. Again,
oh, I'm gonna have to watch it for sure. It does seem like that they need to get us into like a closed loop system so that we don't have people being born and reborn and what have you, which brings me to Children of Men, which everyone should watch.
That recently as well. Yeah,
it's based in Britain, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really left up to us to like go deep on and meditate on. And I even think that we're operating on multiple timelines, that we have like parallel like dimensions that we're operating on. And I think that this particular timeline has been completely hijacked, that we operate on other timelines that are not hijacked. And probably why most of our focus is here is because we need to fix this shit. And those of us that are like questioning things and that are in the known, I mean, in the know to a little bit, we are the souls that have come here to try to help along the rising consciousness to pave the way for the next generation. Because if we weren't here, the baddies would just be having a heyday and there would be no resistance. So we are like the resistance, and we're the ones that are supposed to be putting the pieces of the puzzle together. But we're given such little bits that we have to go deep, and it becomes like a really spiritual thing. But yeah, I do think that they're like our overlords. I think that they're going to, based on what I've been watching in the mainstream media about like, oh, aliens, yeah, oh yeah, sure, they're real. They're going to introduce aliens to us and give us like some sort of like cure to the cancer that they created with the jabs or something. I have no idea what exactly they're going to pull, but it's going to be, yeah, look at this thing.
1.4 million square feet, Chris. 1.4 million square feet. They're like quarter of a mile in size. But that's not everything. That if you think of all the, I don't know if anybody's ever been in a data center. I was in telecoms, and I went into a data center, and they're actually like getting into a bank vault. If anybody's going to visit anybody in prison or something like that, you go in, you get checked. You know, you go through several layers of security to get in, and you're never even going to go in and see the actual the racks of servers and things like that. There, you're only going into an office, but they're not just made out of aluminium buildings either. They're encased military grade buildings.
It'd have to be weatherproof and attack.
That costs 1.5 billion. That, and it's led by the national. Sorry, go on, mate.
No, you're good.
I said it's led by the National Security Agency. That is, it says, yeah.
Unreal. Even the cost of like a hard drive now, like a hard drive that cost like $150 last year is like $1,500 now. Have you seen that ramp up? No. It's insanity. Just the access for us to have a little hard drive now because of the AI.
You actually want everyone to have a cloud, basically. You want everyone in the cloud, don't I suppose?
Mm-hmm. But all of these data centers being put up all over the world, especially, I mean, I've seen all the backlash in the United States, but they're putting them up in England, Scotland, and all over the place. This is our digital prison. This is the new world order, technocracy, power grab, and we're not going to be able to stop it. So we have to adapt and adopt a completely different way of living. We have to prepare for a future that is nothing like the childhood that we grew up with. And because we have the eyes to see and we are very few and far between, we have to act accordingly. And what does that mean to normal people living normal lives? you know? It's hard to say exactly, but definitely like having your children understand the world that they live in, and teaching them farming and community resilience, and being able to not adopt the digital ID, digital currency when it does roll out, because that's all going to be attached to. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir, but this is they're putting in the infrastructure for this system. The flock cameras, like we talked about on the last show, they're putting them up on trails. They're not just on the roadsides for pedos or whatever. And maybe that's why they released the Epstein files, so that everyone would be okay with cameras everywhere, because they think that the pedos need to be filmed and then they'll catch them or something like that. But at the end of the day, like, we have to acknowledge that this is really a spiritual battle. And then if we are understanding that it's happening, then we're on the side of good. And if we're on the side of good, then we need to act accordingly. And that means like radical life shifts in our world. That means like talking to the coworker that you never wanted to talk to about these things, and adopting a new strategy. I mean, maybe you just need to get some pots and put it out front of your flat and start growing tomatoes, but learn how to do it, like baby steps towards bigger goals. Not everyone can raise bees tomorrow. I've got a guy coming to speak at the rally named George Farrell, and I'm really excited about him because he's a farmer, beekeeper, and he's very radical and cool about and understanding and aware. I've got Sandy Adams also. Do you know her? Do y'all know her?
Yeah, we've had her on. Sandy,
We've had her on here, Matt.
Cool. Yeah, would you mind pulling up? Yeah, look at all those. Look at all the freaking ones in the United States.
Do you know the funny thing is, with that picture that Dom just pulled up there, saying it was imagine how many years they've been planning that for them. Just all of a sudden, this last couple of years, they're just bang, bang, bang out there. They're just everywhere.
Well, there's several other things as well, Chris. Obviously, they threw the towers up during the lockdowns, and also even in rural areas in Britain, they're making this drive so everybody has to have fiber optics. Everybody has to have fiber optics, and they're not releasing it yet. But they're using the term game changer. It's going to be game changing when you get fiber optics and what have you. I remember when they were rolling out Wi-Fi in cities, and they used to have a term. And they used to say, it's not turned on yet, the Wi-Fi in, say, Leeds or Manchester, but we're going to light up that city in November. They used to call it lighting it up. And it was an interesting term, I thought, at the time, going back to the early 2010s, because that is literally what they were doing, lighting it up.
So it says in the US there's 4,000 data centers. They're looking to build another 4,000. Like they're looking to, and the new ones are huge and way bigger, way different, and way more localized and intrusive. There's people saying that their livestock are not able to reproduce anymore when they live within proximity of these data centers. What's that say? Yeah, that's a good part too.
I'm guessing they get communities on side by the Chestnut of offering them all jobs, don't they? Everyone will have a job.
Well, there's a lot of communities fighting it because of the strain on the water and the resources, and people are waking up to this, but not enough. And what can you do? Like, you protest it and they move it to some Bill Gates farmland and they plop it down there, with tax breaks and what have you. My state, they're offering massive tax breaks to plop down loads of data centers. And what these things will likely do is power the social credit system, or power all these flock cameras and what have you, or the digital ID, the digital currency, whatever these things are looking to do. It's for something in the future that does not exist now, because we don't need them now. And they have some sort of agenda that's going to require these things. And it's not a ramp up of Chat GPT use. It's automated, like robot dogs or some nonsense. It's stuff that we did not say yes to. And I saw someone giving a breakdown of it. Really, this is a coup. It's a worldwide coup. It's of technocratic oligarchic like takeover, and this is a fight for the future, for our children. And I mean, I don't know what we can really do. Like, I don't expect people to John Connor this nonsense, because how could they possibly do that at this stage in the game? But we do need to adopt.
You've probably got a bit like Dennis Leary in that Demolition Man, where you're not necessarily living off grid, but you're not within it. You go to the surface sometimes to get use of it, and then come back down again, come out of it. But whether that's is that the future
we want to establish for our children, I don't know. But I do know we do need to do something. And all of us, every single one of us, every single person listening, you can tell a friend, you can speak to them in a grounded way and offer them the truth in a reasonable fashion so that they can actually absorb it, because we are seed planters. But the time is now to get active and to get local and to understand how much community is important and to understand how food security is going to be really important in the coming days. And that leads me to talking about this rally. Like, how many more rallies are we going to be able to even have? How many opportunities are we going to be able to have to come together with like-minded people and find our tribe to build this community resilience and do these things that are really important? Like this gathering in Marble Arch on the 20th of June, which is a Saturday, which is summer solstice weekend, because solstice really falls on the very morning of the Sunday. So it's Saturday, 20th June in Marble Arch. And Marble Arch has like this temporary structure being built on it. So it's going to be probably in the grassy area of Marble Arch. Like, there's still space for us, but it's hilarious that they're just like plopping down this building right there right now. But don't worry, we'll be good. And please come out. There's plenty of space in Marble Arch still for us to have the rally. We've got these amazing speakers, and we've got some musicians, which will be really lovely. And the best thing about last year, in my opinion, were people meeting one another and finding like-minded people, because think about it. For one, like, I don't know if y'all trust me or what, but I mean, the listeners, but a lot of these rallies are hijacked, and not everyone trusts these different rallies. But by coming together at this event, it's authentic, and you get to meet people that actually believe that chemtrails are real, which already you've like taken this neat little section of society and they're waving their flag around, and you get to meet these awesome people. Maybe you're single, maybe maybe you're looking to find a date, who knows, a mate, or maybe you're just looking to find the people in your community that you can identify with and have a good time. But there's no excuses anymore. Like, this isn't going to be the last, but it could very well be. Who knows? Like, the way things are going.
Do you remember last year, Matt?
What's up?
When you did it last year? Do you remember? I think it was you came on in 2 weeks before we did the thing in Marble Arch. The British government announced they were going to spend 90 million on geoengineering the skies. That was the first time they've actually come out and said it in the news.
They literally called it Satan. Like, how blatant could they get? Like, the UK government publicly announced. That's why, like, the time for like debating this is over. The UK government has publicly announced that they will do sun dimming operations ongoing, as if you all need more sun dimming in your country. Like
shit weather. It's freezing.
It's unreal.
It's lovely. Yeah.
And they have the audacity to call their program Satan, the Stratospheric Aerosol Transport and Nucleation Program that they just referred to as the Satan program, designed to dim the sun. It's literally a battle of light and dark. And if you're on the side of light, you need to join us, please. Show the children there that us adults care about their future and that we're not afraid to speak up about these things that matter. And come find your peers, or come listen to what we have to say. There is not a live stream this year. You can't sit on your ass and watch it from home. Sorry. Last year, Sonia Paulton was streaming it live, bless her heart, but now she's not going to come. And I look forward to seeing you there, Chris. I guess you can't come, Dom, is what I'm catching. But okay.
He's a half an hour away from London. I'm 3 hours away.
Yeah, no excuses.
Yeah.
It's okay. If you can't make it, I understand, but I would love to see your beautiful mug there. But people, if you can come, the time is now to come and show that you care about this topic. And it's not just this topic. This is about the entire agenda. It's not just chemtrails. It's Agenda 2030. It's the New World Order. It's all of these things, all encompassing. It's our food security. It's our children and our grandchildren's future and our grandchildren's future. And they're looking to put in place a technocratic prison that, if we don't raise the awareness and bring our friends together and figure something out, we're doomed. So the time is now to gather, and please tell a friend to tell a friend. If you can't make it, at least share the news and play your part. Thanks.
Before we go, Matt, I want to ask you about these type of clouds. I took these pictures. I'm shite at taking pictures, but I actually took these pictures above, looking out from the back of our house, and I went for literally miles. I would say hundreds, but I doubt whether it's hundreds. But they went horizontally, they were wide, and these just appeared over a period of time. But they had a gap in them. You can see the gap there. I'll just flick through a couple of them. You can see that
people do
there is
radar imagery of these things, and sometimes they go for like hundreds of miles. It's just insane.
Right. Okay. Right. But these things just appeared, and generally they're appearing over. There's a large reservoir, and there's a lot of pylons around where we are as well. And I'm thinking there's got to be a link with the electricity and water, causing some of these sound waves. Like it's like a grid. But anyway, whether it's true or not, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's like out of the movie They Live. They're blasting frequencies that maintain our level of consciousness, that keep us from like uplifting our consciousness and thinking on higher vibrations, keep us locked into lower vibrational frequencies and what have you. But also they microwave the sky to move around storm systems, to engineer the weather. You can do a lot with frequency manipulation, but this is frequency manipulation. It's use of ground-based stations like NextRad and HARP, and even in conjunction with cell towers and whatnot, to point them at the sky and to have intersecting microwaves like you have in the microwave oven. You put a glass of water in the microwave, or an apple or whatever you want to heat up. I don't know who's heating up apples, but probably crazy people. And then on either side of the thing that you put in the oven, there's intersecting microwaves being hit at it. And as those intersecting microwaves hit each other, they oscillate the water molecules that are in the food that you put in, and it heats up the food. Similarly, those skies are having intersecting radio waves in the sky, and you can see the fingerprint in the sky and you can see it literally turn on and off. Like they'll spray the skies, there'll be a haze, and then when they do turn on their frequency-based stations, it immediately creates those ripples. And when they turn it off, it immediately dissipates. I mean, again, utilizing the scientific method for our own, because we're not going to be told what's going on. And Dom, I'm not trying to give you shit. If you can't make it, that's great. You support in so many ways, and I love you, brother. I'm just saying, like,
I can take shit, man. But last night, me and my wife went for a walk, right? Lovely, clear night, or as clear as it can be. And she said, even the clouds look real tonight. Yeah.
No.
This morning, pissing down. Absolutely pissing down.
It's thunder and lightning here, fire.
Right. We live quite high up as well, but some of the clouds actually look like, I call them Minecraft clouds, because they've got like the really square, as in sharp edges, as opposed to being fluffy clouds. And that, yeah.
I've noticed those as well, and I think sometimes those are chemical clouds and sometimes those are natural clouds, but they're entering into like a grid of frequency. And so the frequency is like tic-tac-toe boards, like we saw right there. And so they're shaping to the frequency that's around them.
Right.
Weird world for sure. And it would be nice to have people step up and like blow the whistle on this kind of thing. But the day and age of whistleblowers, in my opinion, is come and gone. People that have already signed over their souls to some sort of program, and then they want to step forward and blow the whistle, they never make it to the podium, and then the people that do blow the whistle, they're just operatives trying to mislead and confuse everyone, controlled opposition operatives, and they take the stage, and then the other potential whistleblowers don't do it because thankfully they don't have to risk their lives, because there's this other knobhead doing it, but they're limited hangouts, giving just like limited bits of information, not really telling the full story, definitely not telling you to watch Frankenstein's the movie, which is available online for free.
It's on about 5 different channels on Rumble. I noticed. Yeah.
Are we allowed to put it on our channel on YouTube, Matt?
Oh yeah, of course. That would be lovely. And if you need like a version sent to you, like me sending you like a compressed thing or something like that, I'm happy to do that. And other people have shared it on their channels, and I love that. It's actually surprisingly, even though it came out in 2018, and I'm like working on the sequel, like I said, and I'm going to get the sequel made. It's
going to be huge, is that? That's going to be fucking huge, I tell you.
Thanks. It's going to be
different. It's a different world now, isn't it? It's a different world.
It really
when
is.
you you had to fight your way through to get that released at that point.
I know. Like last time I put it up on YouTube and it went viral. Good luck with that. Right? I mean, like really, like it went nuts on YouTube and I went on all these different, platforms and stuff. And now it's just like, it's not the same. But the 2018 film Frankenstein, it's gaining traction still. Someone from Russia, Mother Russia, hit me up just the other day and was like, I want to put it on this big platform there, but you have to sign this disclosure release. Someone from Korea just translated it into Korean and sent me a copy like last week with Korean.
Wow. Brilliant.
Like, literally like Korean symbols all up on it. I mean, I wouldn't even begin to know one word in Korean. So people are catching wind all around the world and sinking their teeth into it and waking up day by day by day. And that's what activism is. And that's what people don't want to hear when they ask me, like, what can I do? And I'm like, share my movie, play your part bit by bit, day by day. They just want to pull the trigger on the missile launcher. Or, I've got this buddy from New York. He's like, well, when you get the missile launchers, you let me know and I'll play my part. I'm like, yeah, good one, Joey. But like people are indoctrinated and brainwashed and programmed into thinking that these things happen overnight, but they don't. We're up against so much, and what we have is our voice, which is very powerful, and what we have is spirit, which is very powerful, but it takes time. We're planting seeds and we have to water them and help the soil and let those seeds germinate. And then some of the seeds die because of the weather engineering. But then we play our part and some of those seeds sprout. And then we've got, activists that are being born today. Like literally people that are being born today need us to speak the truth today.
New John Connors.
Right. There's John Connors being born every day. And it's up to us to help along.
And Joanne Connor.
Yeah.
And what?
Joanne Connor.
Yeah, and Joanne Connors.
And everything in between.
And non-binary Connors. Yeah.
But we can all play our part, like you guys reach so many people doing what you do, and that's beautiful. Other people don't do shite.
Yeah.
There's people like us, and there's people in between, and there's people doing nothing, and a lot of it is fear because this whole world is entrenched in it. Yeah. They're afraid of peer ridicule. They're afraid of everything.
There's a guy over here called Richard D. Hall, and he was making documentaries in the 2010s, wasn't he, Chris? He's been screwed over by the government. Anyway, it's another long story. But I remember he said to me, don't send me stuff, not to me directly, but to people listening. Don't send me stuff and tell me to look into this and look into that. Do it yourself. That's what he used to say. And I took that as a call to arms. And that what you're saying is that it's a call, because when these bastards are draining energy out of us, why not divert that? Because this is not the type of energy they want. They don't want this energy. Being laughed at, being taken the piss out of, people using their fucking loaf.
Yeah, they're terrified of those vibrations. That's why they put everything in fear, and they do everything that they can, from the polyester in our clothes to the LED light bulbs to the GMO foods to the fluoride in the water, which is a thing happening now in the UK. Over 6 million households now have fluoride added to it, and they're trying to expand that this year, and it's growing. To the aluminum in the air and the soil, to the data centers, to the eating the fucking crickets, all of it, every last bit of it, full spectrum warfare. Why? Because they are absolutely terrified of us, of each and every one of us, because we are powerful spiritual beings. We are sovereign. And the moment that we fully recognize it, it's game over for them.
To war on
what's up with the October 3rd thing? Tell me more about that.
So, do you want to say that, Chris? Explain.
What's that? Sorry?
October 3rd.
Oh, we're doing a live show in London at Backyard Comedy Club. We did it last year as well. It went really well, so we're doing it again.
Yeah, who's speaking?
Well, there'll be me and Dom will be there.
Is Devlin coming back?
Yeah, Matt Devlin and John Homer as well. I think is that right, Dom?
Yeah.
Cool.
We'll have to do one time, Matt.
Yeah, I would love to come sometime. So maybe keep me.
Well, we could arrange it around a time. Yeah, we could arrange it around a time.
Around if we have a third summer solstice meeting. Could maybe arrange the next one in June, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
yeah, because you're already
you
over
arrange
it.
it around the same time. Matt. How long do you usually come over for?
Oh, I'm in and out 6-7 days or something like that. I'd love to stay for a little longer, but you know, I'd like to make some friends over there.
But that
be my friend.
Yeah, but
Please
that's
don't be a stranger.
That still would be probably a decent timing. Although you do it on do the Marble Arch thing on a Saturday, and the best time to do the comedy club probably is a Saturday as well. But
I can always come back.
Yeah, I reckon there'll be a time when we do something like that. Okay. We're actually thinking about doing trying to do a 3-day event, but it's finding the premises to get like a number of speakers on. But doing that and doing this and doing the other stuff I do in my life, that'd be a full-time chuffing role, just organising it.
Yeah, it's a zoo with all the moving parts and everything. Even just hosting this rally, like I've got people like canceling and speakers like telling me, yes, I'll be there 100%. And then last minute, like, you know, it's an uphill battle just trying to get activists to commit, let alone get the people there and praying to the weather gods as well. You know, I'm on my knees, don't worry.
Yeah.
Well, the forecast right now is good, so.
Yeah, it's okay. Right? Yeah, just going back to what you were saying about water fluoridize before we go. 10% of the population in Britain receiving fluoridated tap water.
Yeah, and I read a note that said that they want to ramp it up in 2026. That it's so good for your teeth that everyone needs it.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're talking about kids' teeth being the worst ever and all this type of stuff. So they need to get fluoride into people.
Oh, it can't be the processed foods or anything like that. No, fluoride has never been proven safe or effective at all. Never been proven once to be safe or effective.
I've heard that before, Matt. I heard it in 2021. Can't remember what for now. Safe and effective.
There's never been any proof of efficacy, right? No, I know those words like hammered into me, and now I'm repeating.
Yeah.
So
beaten into us. Yeah.
One thing for people to understand about fluoride, which it shouldn't be in your toothpaste or mouthwash either. Like, it's not good for you. It doesn't do what they say. It doesn't bond to your teeth. It doesn't do anything good. Fluoride comes from melting aluminum. So the aluminum industry has.
I like the way you did that. You've mixed the American version word and the British word up, and you actually said aluminium. And you actually said aluminum and aluminium at the same time. Fucking brilliant. How you laid that over.
Look at me go.
That's a skill on its own.
Using his love.
Using a love.
So this chemical byproduct of the aluminum industry, it wants to bond back to its mom. It wants to come and bond back to the aluminum. Aluminum. What am I doing? What am I
We know what you mean.
How do I say it?
We say aluminium. You say aluminum, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, aluminum.
We say aluminium. Yeah.
I'm screwed.
Just say bollocks. Fuck it.
Just say aluminium. Yeah, we know what you mean.
I'm trying to say this at the rally.
Who cares, man? We know what you mean.
What you're saying is he tries to bond back to the fluoride tries to bond back to the aluminium. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, the fluoride and the aluminum, the two things together, they couple in your brain and they literally fry your brain. And it's no wonder that the number one cause of death in the UK is now Alzheimer's and dementia. It was for males up until a couple of years ago, it was heart disease, but now for men and female,
it's been taken.
Male and women.
I always found it interesting when
and non-binaries.
When they brought out to brush your teeth for 2 minutes. I mean, I know you probably should, but I found it interesting. You got fluoride, and then they tell you not to swallow it, and then you're setting a timer to do it for 2 minutes. I thought, is that some kind of?
So you're talking brushing your teeth now, Chris? All them clubs you go to?
Is it just flowing around your head for 2 minutes? You know, so all the fucking whatever vapors they want to get into your skull. Is that what they need? Do they need 2 minutes to do it? I always thought it was odd.
Yeah, no, surely. I mean, like, come on. It's the number one cause of death in the UK. I mean, nothing else is killing people faster than the toxicity of the aluminum buildup in your brain.
But people are getting this now in the 40s, Matt. They're getting Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and all these mental degrading illnesses in the 40s now. They're not. It used to be something somebody got when they were 70 or 80, when they went senile. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it's killing 65,000 Brits annually, and growing every single year. And people are just scratching their heads like, oh, it must just be the whatever. I don't even know what they're blaming it on, the TV or something.
They don't actually even discuss it, Matt. That's the weird thing. There's no they tell you that there's a rise in it, but there's no discussion as to why. Other than
and then they cut these people open, you know, when they do the autopsies when they die, and their brains are full of these of aluminium or whatever you want. And at the end of the day, where's it all coming from? Okay, yeah, it's in the jabs, we get that, but also it's being sprayed on us all the freaking time. And the fluoride, it actually pools in your brain and pulls the aluminum into your brain. 76,000 in the UK. Yeah, I think it's like 65,000 in.
But bear in mind, only 500,000. It's 1 in 10 people who die of Alzheimer's. I mean, it's a big number that. And I've got a graph like Brian Cox somewhere where it shows that it was nowhere. This was nowhere going back 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
You know.
It happened once in a blue moon, didn't it? When we were growing up, someone got.
What else is I watched Rain Man the other day, you know, the movie, and he's autistic, right? And in the movie, Tom Cruise is like, my brother's autistic, and everyone's like, what? What's that mean? Like, it wasn't even a word when that movie came out, right? And now, like, everyone's on the freaking spectrum. They're actually proud of it. It's ridiculous. Where I live, they want to be autistic and trans. And when I grew up, being gay and retarded was like not cool. And now it's like a fad.
What's your thoughts on all these famous people?
Like that joke?
Yeah.
Go ahead, yeah.
All these famous people, their kids being trans. A high proportion of their kids are like Jennifer Lopez, not Matt Damon, the other Affleck. So Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez were together, and both have got trans kids. De Niro. You could. I've got a list of all these kids that are trans to.
Well, they're being groomed, and where I live is a very liberal town, and I found out recently like how aggressive it is. An associate of mine is a high school teacher at the high school for history, and he was required to do this spectrum on the board and have every child walk up and put on the spectrum. It was male, female, and it was like a chart. And like, where do you stand on this chart? And the peer pressure, and imagine like the people like, oh, I'm very male. Oh, I'm right in the middle. Oh, I'm like very, whatever. And the kids are being groomed, and it's through the media. It's through the education system. It's all over the place, like full on bombardment of like, what's your sex and why don't you change to be the other thing and what have you. And it's a depopulation agenda, but also it comes down to transhumanism. It's like everyone needs to be accepted and no one should be having kids. And yeah, you should accept this dystopian, like live forever, digitize your consciousness nonsense, because you can upload your consciousness onto your trans robot version of yourself. And
into your Tesla car. Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone can just be trans together. But trans ends up being transhuman. But I do think that they want to slow down the reproduction because it's a spiritual battle, and the darkness that's overwhelming the earth right now, it's triggering these really bright light souls to come in to help save the day in this battle of light and dark. And the forces of evil know that shit, and they're preventing more souls from coming in by having less people have children. Is what I think, because some of these children I meet recently are so bright, and that's not what the powers that be want. They want less reproduction, more digitization of consciousness. They don't necessarily want to kill everyone off. They just want them stupid and living forever.
My
parasite. If you're a parasite, you don't want to kill your food host, do you?
No,
You just
my
wonder,
son, when he was 7 or 8, was taking pictures of chemtrails in the sky. You know, so the children of us, you talk about the children of men, if you like, but the children of ours, right? The majority of them are going to see all this shit. They're going to know all this stuff. They're going to be brought up in a household that talks about it openly. You know, that even if at this point in time they don't actually believe it, at some point they're going to go, fucking hell, my dad were right. He weren't talking shit.
Yeah.
About some things.
Yeah, about some things, yeah. Even though my mum used to say he was talking shit. No.
And that's why it's important for us to teach the children well and to not come off as nutters and to plant those seeds properly, to show them the way, and not just show them, but guide them and teach them and pass them a torch worth bearing, worth keeping alive. And we can do that. We just have to do it right.
So, and on that note, Matt, I think it's a good end for this podcast. So once again, let's tell everybody when the meeting starts and what have you. All it's self-explanatory there.
Yeah, so Marble Arch is over by Speaker's Corner at the corner of Hyde Park. It has its own tube station, so it's really easy to get to. Marble Arch, London. And the rally will start at 2 p.m., but welcome to come early. And if you come early, there's a better chance of meeting me and getting a free t-shirt, stickers, DVDs, what have you, that I'll bring. And I've got buttons for everybody. I got a button for you, Chris, so I look forward to seeing you. Yeah, last year I had these awesome stickers that were like expensive and waterproof and would last forever, and everyone just put them on their shirt. I'm like, no, go put them on like your computer. It's gonna last forever. But no, they wanted like the solidarity. I loved that actually. It was really cool. But now I've just got buttons for people, and I'll have other things and swag and what have you. But yeah, please come a little early if you like. Bring a picnic. We're gonna go out to the pub later. How'd you like that pub, Chris? Should we go there or somewhere else? What do you think?
Yeah, that was fine, wasn't it? It was just around the corner. I think talking about that, there was another. I think there was some kind of LGBT protest going on that day, wasn't there?
Yeah,
So
they like
were all in
passed
the pub
through
at the same
and they were
time.
in the
Yeah.
crowd. I was handing them
Yeah.
flyers at the end. I was like, "Oh, you're here for this?" And they're like, "Nope."
What did they say? Nope, I'm a cat.
Yeah, they were all right. I mean, we all mingled together in the pub after, didn't we?
Yeah, no, that was beautiful actually.
Yeah.
The ones
Yeah,
that
we'll
were
go to-
like cool, they came out and were, I mean, it was a large march. So then the very 1% of the people that were like, "Oh, what are these idiots doing? Oh, cool. Really? Oh, yeah, neat. Let's learn something." It was beautiful actually. I mean, like honestly, I just want to say, all jokes aside, like I love everyone. And if you want to stand up for your sexual identity and what have you, that's great. There's a group in the States called Gays Against Grooming, and I think that's just wonderful. Like, just keep the children out of your radar. You can be who you want to be, but until puberty, I don't think anybody should be convinced to wear a tail and cut off their junk. That's just it.
Yeah. No, well said, Matt. Yeah, that's true. Exactly.
And I mean, I'm all inclusive. I love everybody of every nationality, as long as you're not bringing harm my way or trying to get my kids. That's it.
Yeah. No, I agree. 100%.
And especially if you believe in chemtrails, you're my people. So let's go.
I think if even world class as normies now are saying to me, "What do you think about chemtrails?" Honestly, because I think chemtrails and music, I don't know, they're easy ones because people are looking up into the sky now and saying, "Well, they weren't there when I was a kid," or especially people of our age.
We can look in films. There's not in any films, are there? The sky looks different. I think they've actually tampered with some films now at this point, but most of the films don't have any chemtrails in them.
I mean, with all the nonsense and the Epstein files and the royals and all of the idiocracy of the world that we're living in politics and the media and whatnot, even people like my mom who are pretty mainstream, they're starting to ask really big questions. And they don't think that we need all these data centers, and they don't think that the lines in the skies are normal. But so many people aren't willing to like stand up and speak out against it because they haven't seen my movie, they haven't met me yet. So come meet me in person. Let's go. Yeah. And it's like there is a shift and there is an awakening happening. And we come from like spirit, we come from like higher vibrations, I feel like, where things are a lot faster. So the awakening feels like molasses here.
Yeah.
But that's just God's plan or the universe's plan, and it's happening. Don't lose faith. And if you can play your part in some sort of way, then please consider doing so.
So then, on that note, thanks everybody in the chat. It's been going far too fast for me to even look at, to be honest with you. Bouncing away.
One more thing. Last year, people had the most amazing and witty T-shirts and signs. I was just like floored at the creativity and how many people showed up.
Pretty British thing is that. Pretty British thing that, isn't it? Yeah,
I love
placards and signs and what have you. Yeah.
Yeah, this time I'm gonna bring a little like camera phone. I don't even, believe it or not, I don't even have a cell phone, but I got this iPhone 8 just to bring and take photos. Like that's it. That's it. And
Someone's put a nice message on there, Matt.
Lovely and lively show with the guest. I hope you can make it to the Summer Solstice Rally Marble Arch and Matt and his guests. Yeah, it's Saturday, so everyone please come out on Saturday. Like people are coming from far and wide, and we're gonna drink afterwards and whatnot. And so Sunday just didn't make sense. So it's Saturday. So let's make sure no one's coming on the wrong day. But I look forward to having a great turnout and maybe even more than last year. So cheers.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. Thanks in the chat. Thanks for turning up and joining us. Well, nothing less but to say we'll see you next week. But
cheers, Matt. See you again soon. I'll see you on Saturday.
Bye.
Bye. Stay where you are, guys. I'll be back in a sec. We'll play the theme tune. Yeah.